show will go on in the Singapore Premier League, and after the Ministry of Health's advisory in relation to ticketed sports events in Singapore, the Football Association of Singapore have taken the decision to continue with the league matches this weekend, but with a change behind closed doors, including this match today here at Our Tampines Hub between the Tampines Rovers and Tanjong Pagar United. I have Shuko Zailan, a league winner with Tampines Rovers in 2011. And Shuko, for the safety of everyone involved, is behind closed doors, but how is that different for a footballer preparing for a match in front of thousands of fans and now in front of no fans?
Duncan, personally, I feel that it will affect a player's performance because, first of all, apart from working hard to play the game, I mean, we are all entertainers. So we want to entertain the crowd. We are looking for reactions, be it jeer or cheer. We love that, and it will get us that extra step to play a better football.
But of course, under these circumstances, the right decision made by the Football Association of Singapore.
Well, of course, it's the right decision. It's a good decision. We all have to play our part, socially responsible. I think the fans understand it. It's not just our league. I think you will see all the BPL, Spanish league, Italian league, it's all suspend their league. So I think this is a good step for our league.
And of course, you can enjoy the matches live right here with us. So let's look forward to the match. And Tampines Rovers, they've had plenty of matches so far. And no Madhu, no Taufik, no Yasir for them through a variation of injuries and suspensions. They will have to dig deep today with a very fatigued side.
Yeah, I believe they have to work extra hard. I think a few players taking over this regular first 11. We will see what's the game plan. Is it the same as what they always play, or is there going to be a little change? We'll see it later on.
Now, we know that they have a reliance on Jordan Webb and Boris Kopitovic. If you look at the goals, it's been the two of them on the score sheet. Yes, Irwan Shah got on the score sheet in the Community Shield. Is there an over-reliance on these two? What if one of them gets injured?
Well, I think it is natural for these two, Jordan Webb and Kopitovic, to be always on the score sheet. I mean, it's expected because this is their role and responsibility for the team. So, of course, we want to see more other players coming up to score goals, but it is natural to see these players playing each other because this is the chemistry they have, and I think it's good for the team.
Well, those two boys doing the business at the top end of the pitch, but at the other end of the pitch, Daniel Bennett returns in the Singapore Premier League. He's had injuries in the early part of the season. How good is it to see him back? Of course, you played with him.
I think he's taking care good of himself. I think he balanced his work life and family time just nice. Although he's 42, right? He's 42, right? Yeah. I think he maintained himself very well. I think the coach looked after him very well. His experience is a lot. I think players will learn a lot from him.
What kind of defender is he? What kind of player is he? You've been in the same changing room as him. Tell me a little bit insight about Daniel Bennett.
He's very cool. He's very cool. At the same time, he will definitely raise his voice whenever he sees things that's not playing according to the game plan. He will definitely give some advice. Of course, in a very stern way, but it will help players wake up.
Well, maybe they need to wake up against a very strong Tanjong Pagar United side. Of course, they had that draw against the Lion City Sailors. Having a week to digest their performance, what impressed you about them against Lion City Sailors?
I think they are working very hard, especially for a new team with a lot of young players. I think they work more than 100%, I would say. Although they are only making one change today, I think they're going to give the same performance that they give against Lion City Sailors.
Yes, it was a high-energy, high-tempo match that they played. Now, that could be something, a little secret weapon that they might have today against a fatigued Tampines Rovers side. Do you think that could be a chink in Tampines Rovers' armor, being fatigued up against a high-tempo side like Tanjong Pagar?
If they start the game first 15 minutes, just like how they play against Lion City Sailors, definitely they're going to get a goal. We'll never know because they scored a goal first against Lion City Sailors, which impressed me a lot. So, yeah, I'm looking forward for this game today. I want to see that they're going to play the same way as they play against Lion City Sailors.
There is a possibility for Tanjong Pagar United that after matches against Lion City Sailors, after matches against Tampines Rovers, that they could be unbeaten. Is that a statement that they could provide to the league?
Like I said before, they are sending a lot of a big message to other teams that they should not be taken lightly. I think if today they get a draw or they get a win, definitely Hougang, Albrechts will have to be wary of them.
Really, really looking forward to this match. Tampines Rovers versus Tanjong Pagar United. Of course, a match that's being played behind closed doors. Barbara Latimer caught up with Tampines Rovers chairman Desmond Ong a little earlier to talk about the precautions taken ahead of this match.
Thank Ong, the chairman of the Tampines Rovers Football Club. Now, talk me a little bit through the security measures and the kind of initiatives that have been put in place with regards to the COVID-19 situation.
Well, it's all a bit new for us. We're in uncharted territory here. We've done the usual checks for temperatures and all, but because it's a closed door situation here, we don't expect fans. We're doing it for the benefit of the players, the staff, the officials, so on and so forth. To be able to play football now in these times is a bit of a privilege. But like I said, the whole country's a bit nervous at the moment, particularly after PM came on TV yesterday. That was unprecedented. So we'll see how it goes. But we're doing our best to just keep everybody safe.
Wonderful. And, you know, with all the matches that have been played so far in the league, how do you think the teams are doing?
It's a bit early in the season. Our players are a bit tired, unfortunately. We've had the AFC Champions League, a couple of AFC games. For us, this will be our third league game, and then we've had the Community Shield. Whereas for Tanjong Pagar, it's their second game. It's a bit early in the season to be making excuses, but I can sense some of the tiredness in the players.
All right. Well, thanks for that. We look forward to catching the match. Back to you, Duncan.
Yeah, fantastic to hear from Barbara and, of course, Tampines Rovers chairman Desmond Ong. Right, team news is in as we approach kickoff. We'll get to the all-important team news and some interesting stuff to tell you about after the break. Match we are focusing on today in the Singapore Premier League is Tampines Rovers versus Tanjong Pagar United from our Tampines Hub. And I teased a little about the changes and the team selection ahead of this match by both sides. And just bearing in mind, on Wednesday, Tampines Rovers have a big clash, perhaps the biggest match of the season so far. Tampines up against Lion City Sailors. So with that in mind, let's have a look at the Tampines Rovers lineup because there is no Amirul Adli, there is no Zerudin Memenovic Shukozailan. Is that Gavin Lee having an eye on the Lion City Sailors?
Probably, we'll never know. But again, maybe it's all because of fatigue, so that he wants to rest his key players. But then again, we shouldn't take Tanjong Pagar lightly. Probably he's trying to give players a chance and to see how games go in the first half.
Yeah, it does look to be Joel Chu, Jordan Webb, and Boris Kopitovic front line. Obviously, the goals usually coming from Webb and from Kopitovic. For Tanjong Pagar United, we'll get to them a little later. But Barbara caught up with Gavin Lee on his thoughts of the COVID situation and, of course, the games that are coming thick and fast for the Stags.
Head coach of Tampines Rovers, Gavin, what are your thoughts on a closed-door game?
Well, first of all, I think it's tough to play without fans, but I do understand why they do it. Health is most important, and for us, we just got to do our job for the fans who are watching online.
And, you know, you guys have had no shortage of games being played over the last few weeks. Do you think fatigue is going to take its toll on the players?
No, it's something we speak about, but it's an external factor that we cannot really control, the number of games we play. So all we can do is to focus on our recovery and you know, our video sessions become a little bit more important because we've got less grass time, but we're still confident in putting on a strong performance today.
So Boris and Jordan have been, you know, they've been netting a lot of goals. Is there any worry that the goals have not kind of evenly been spread amongst the entire team?
Well, I think it's harsh to put it that way because they got the two of them got their goals based on the efforts of everyone else. So what we do together as a team to set up whoever's nearest to go to score. So I'm confident that if we keep doing our business together as a team, more goals will flow in.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing today's match and watching everyone play. Thank you for the little chat. Duncan, it's back to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Barbara. And good points there made by Gavin. Since the first game of the season, Tampines Rovers have, of course, played in the AFC Cup. They played DPMM. They played Shan United, of course, recently before this match, while Tanjong Pagar United only had Lion City Sailors. And then they have this match today. Will it be good preparation for Tanjong Pagar United, having a whole week of preparation for this match, while Tampines Rovers had a match in midweek?
This is definitely an advantage for Tanjong Pagar because they have more days training, while Tampines Rovers has a game earlier this week playing against Shan United. But then again, it comes down to quality and game day itself, who is more hungrier to win. We really have to see how the game starts. Like I said, maybe Tampines will pick up slow, and Tanjong Pagar will definitely go on a high-paced intensity when the game starts.
You've played in continental competitions before. What effect does it have on the player playing at the weekend and then midweek and then the weekend again?
It is definitely tiring. It's definitely tiring. I can assure you that because if the squad have only about 25 players, and we are playing every 2-3 days, one game, and then we play again another game. The resting period, recovery period, I'm afraid it's not enough.
Does it take a toll on your mind mentally as well, having to play those games with the travel, of course?
Yeah,
obviously, they didn't have to travel playing against Shan United at Jurong West, but on the away days, does it take an effect on the players' mentality?
Definitely. Mentally wise, it will affect them. Because we play football, we think a lot with our brain. So we need to rest our brain as well. So if you are playing too much games, we can give our best for the game.
All right, so on to Tanjong Pagar United, and they have made just the one change, and it's an enforced one. Takahiro Tanaka at left back, so solid down the wing for the Jaguars in their first match of the season. Well, he sits out with an ankle injury, and it's Shabel Hisham who steps in. Solid first game against Lion City Sailors. Do you think they will play the same way, soak and strike?
Well, I hope they're going to play the same formation and same tactical as they play against Lion City Sailors. I'm very impressed with their performance, especially in the first 15 minutes with their never say die attitude. So yeah, I hope that the game start off straight away, attacking football.
Just a small side note, only the 6 substitutes for Tanjong Pagar United, so they've not taken up the entire quota of 7 subs, so something to look forward to for Tanjong Pagar United today. All right, Barbara is pitchside and she's caught up with Noor Alam Shah, the Jaguars team manager.
I've got team manager Alam Shah. Now, what are your thoughts on the closed door today?
I think we still have to go on. It will be a difficult match for the players because they have to be highly concentrated because there's no motivation factor on the stands. But as a professional, you have to expect all the unexpected, and I think we have to be professional about this.
So you guys had a very soak and strike approach when it came to the Lion City Sailors in the last match. Is that a strategy that you're going to put into play today as well?
I think right now I don't have to hide anything about it. It's a game plan that we are adopt at this present moment. But having said that, also we are trying to evolve into a possession game, also a team game. But I think for now we will stick to that plan only.
Amazing. So do you think you guys will be making a statement if you walk away from today having beaten both the Lion City Sailors and the Tampines Rovers?
I think we're still in the building phase. Building, being cocky and putting a bold statement is not our team goal at this present moment. But I think if we do get something away from this, it only builds our team confidence ahead of the next match.
All right, well, it looks like it's going to be an exciting game ahead. Duncan, it's back to you.
If Tanjong Pagar United are to cause an upset today, I think it goes down to one man who could possibly do some damage to Tampines Rovers, and that is our man to watch today. And it's Tanjong Pagar United's number 10, Luis Jr., the 29-year-old former Brazil under-17 international. He's played for Sabah, he's played for Persija Jakarta, he's played for Tanjong Pagar United. You saw him against Lion City Sailors. What do you like about him, Chuko?
I feel he reminds me a lot of Ekmar Goncalves from Home United, now known as Lion City Sailors. I think South American players gives you that flair in the game, a lot of excitement, a lot of skills. So it's nice to watch him. It's nice to see him giving this energy for the league.
Does he give you the sense that he can create something out of nothing and he can turn the game by himself? And that's what you need from a foreigner.
Yes, it's unusual to see a target man who collects the ball and then go up and attack, trying to do something for the team. I think it is nice to see strikers doing that nowadays.
I know the Tanjong Pagar coaching staff said to me behind the scenes that they're surprised of his quality, how good he is when they looked at him up close, Luis Jr. Do you expect him to bang in a couple of goals or a lot of goals or top scorer this season?
I think in every striker's mind, they want to be scoring a lot of goals in the season. So I think he will set himself a high target. So at least if he didn't get that target, at least he will get 10 to 12 goals in the season. That is good enough.
He's got a good resume, of course. Played for Sabah, as I said. Played for Persija Jakarta. Surprised that another club have not snapped him up. And it's Tanjong Pagar United, who at the very last moment snapped him up. Is it a surprise to you?
Maybe he likes the lifestyle here. I'm not sure, but maybe he likes the weather because South America, he's South America after all. So maybe he wants to see how our league is. He wants to know how is it playing in our league, and then maybe from here he will step up and play in other league.
You watched him in his first game of the season. He's probably going to go up against Daniel Bennett, a teammate that you know very, very well. What kind of battle will that be? It looks like a heavyweight battle.
It definitely will be a heavyweight battle. I think it's not easy for Luis Jr. to go past Daniel Bennett because I think his experience itself, he may lack of speed, but he's good at making distance to win ball from his opponent.
He almost scored against Lion City Sailors. Hassan Sani denying Luis Jr. All right, we are almost reaching kickoff, Shuko. I've not done this to you, but you've been pretty accurate with your score predictions this season. What do we expect to see today? Are Tampines going to worry about fatigue in the first half, and will fatigue play a factor in the second half for them?
Okay, for today, my prediction is a little bit out of this world. I'm going to go with Tanjong Pagar winning 2-0.
And what's your reasoning behind that one?
I got a gut feeling that they're going to play all out because they got nothing to lose. So they're going to give their best.
You heard it here first. Shuko Zailan with a prediction that will cause a shock in the Singapore Premier League. He's going for a Tanjong Pagar United victory and for them to keep a clean sheet with the likes of Boris Kapitovic and Jordan Webb in the Tampines Rovers side. Very interesting. I'm not sure what Patrick Kingon thinks about that, but you will join his commentary after the break.
Welcome back live to our Tampines Hub, where we are set for the start of the third week of action. COVID-19 has not stopped the Singapore Premier League yet. While the rest of world football comes to something of a standstill, we are proud across the One Play Sports Network, Singtel and StarHub to bring you Tampines Rovers against Tanjong Pagar United. They're the substitutes bench for Tanjong Pagar United. As Duncan mentioned in the pre-show, only able to name 6 substitutes Tanjong Pagar United today, and a big blow for them that Takahiro Tanaka misses out with an ankle injury, because as the guys were saying in that build-up, he really was impressive, and it was his corner that created the goal that shocked the Lion City Sailors in the first half in their one and only game so far. As for Tampines Rovers, they take to the field tonight, incredibly, for their 8th competitive game of the season. An AFC Champions League qualifier, losing 5-3 after extra time to Bali after they finished 3-3 after 90 minutes. They've had already 3 games in the AFC Cup, plus the 1-0 win here against Balestier that we brought you live, and the 2-0 reverse at DPMM. Add to that the Community Shield win against Taogang. And even though it is behind closed doors, our Tampines Hub, the beauty of it is it's an open air complex, so there are some lucky souls that have bugged some vantage points at the various concourses around this magnificent complex. But I think everyone's in agreement that the Football Association of Singapore have taken the bold decision and the right decision to not unnecessarily gather a large group of people here in the thousands. And it would have been, believe me, a crowd in the thousands, because Tampines Rovers doing great work in the community, and the Tanjong Pagar United fan base is being reinvigorated as well. There on the substitute bench is the man that's being rested, Zarudin Mehmedovic. Maybe, as Duncan and Shukul were mentioning, with that game on Wednesday in mind, there certainly won't be thousands keeping an eye on the action here at our Tampines Hub, but a lucky few hundred have picked the vantage points to enjoy the action. And you, of course, have the best seat in the house, watching it live across the world on the One Play Sports Network, broadcast in Singapore on StarHub and Singtel as well. Nur Alam Shah, who Barbara spoke to before the game, along with head coach Hari Suap. I wonder what plan they've got to try and get the better of the Stags today. And interesting that Shukul went for a 2-0 win, because that would obviously be a shock. But I think Shukul's reasoning is quite sound here. Tampines have looked tired, and that matchup between Daniel Bennett and Lewis Jr., Duncan and Shukul pinpointed that in the pre-show, and it could be crucial, because Daniel Bennett was a colossus in the second half against Shan United on Wednesday, but at 42 years of age, can he back up from a big midweek performance? I think it was Tuesday night, actually, and then a game tonight on Saturday. Coming up to 5:25 local time here in Singapore. And we are almost ready to greet the teams onto the Our Tampines Hub surface. A reminder, there are 2 games kicking off simultaneously in the Singapore Premier League today. We'll keep you up to date with the game between Young Lions and Balestier over there at Jurong West. There is the official Singapore Premier League ball for this season, the Mitre Delta Max, that the referee will shortly pick up and stride to the centre circle. Zulfikar Mustafa, our referee here this afternoon. Wherever you're watching around the world, a warm welcome as Tampines Rovers take on Tanjong Pagar United. It's the Stags against the returning Jaguars. Tampines looking to bounce back in the league from that disappointment in Brunei when they went down by 2-0. They did, of course, beat Shan United in the AFC Cup on Tuesday by 2-1. Now a win, of course, would be enough to take Tampines Rovers top, albeit it would only be their 3rd game of the season. As you look across the league table as it stands now, Albrechts losing their 100% record last weekend. It's only Hougang and Brunei DPMM that possess 100% records already this season. We'll check the team lineups very shortly. There is Jordan Webb, and you can't really overestimate just how important Jordan Webb and Boris Kapolovic have been for the Stags this season. Boris Kapolovic, 5 goals in all competitions. Jordan Webb, 4 in all comps. But in the league scoring, early on has been a problem for them. Just that goal in the 8th minute of that 1-0 win against Balestier when they were hanging on at the end. Since then, goalless against DPMM when they lost 2-0. Confirmation that Zulfikar Mustafa is our referee, assisted by Shadiq Al-Hussein and Ruthran Raj running the lines. So while we look at the players taking their team photos, let's check in with those team lineups and that all-important team news, because there are changes to report in both camps. With that busy schedule for Tampines, Gavin Lee makes 3 changes. In comes Hazufa Aziz, Joel Chu and Erwin Shah. Yassir Henapi still serving that 6-game ban carried over from last season. He played in midweek, but obviously ineligible for the game today. Great to see Chol Chu back. It was his cross, remember, that created that goal for Boris Kapotovic in the 1-0 win against Balestier here that we brought you live a couple of weeks ago. And there's also a return to the side for Shairul Suzali, the 23-year-old, going to have to take on some of the defensive responsibility. And you can see from the substitutes bench that Mehmedovic is available to be called on if required. Meanwhile, looking at Tanjong Pagar United, and Duncan and Shukul mentioned it in the pre-show, they were impressive in terms of team spirit. They were hanging on at the end against the Lion City Sailors, but it was a well-earned point when all things were considered, and they have to make that one change, and it's a bit of a blow for them. Takahiro Tanaka misses out through an ankle injury, and in to fill that slot comes Shabil Hisham. And on their bench, just the 6 substitutes, and if they're looking for a goal late, they might be turning to the likes of Hadi Putradia, Saz Waditema, who came off the bench in that game against the Lion City Sailors. So you can see just in the right-hand corner of your screen that the Tanjong Pagar United boys are in their huddle. Team spirit is going to be the calling card for them this season. As for Gavin Lee, assisted ably by a Singapore football legend next to him in Faroudin Mustafic, the Stags have pleased everyone in the last couple of seasons with the brand of football they've been playing. The question is, can they cope with an incredibly busy schedule? Not for the first time this season already, having to play midweek and then at the weekend. Their 8th game of the campaign, remember. They're 3rd in the league. This just Tanjong Pagar United's 2nd competitive matchup of the season. Last-minute instructions given by Noel Amshar and Hari Swap as we get ready for action here in an eerily quiet Our Tampines Hub. And if you do hear goals being celebrated, that's because some innovative souls have occupied the communal areas, the public areas here at this magnificent Our Tampines Hub, a real boost to the community here in the East. And if you haven't had a chance to visit it, I can highly recommend it. Big cinema screen showing films, some superb eating and shopping options, and the centre point of it all, this great sports stadium used by the community in the week, and the big boys of the Singapore Premier League at weekends, as the Stags lining up in their black jerseys playing from left to right will get us underway. Tanjong Pagar and their red and white stripes will be playing from right to left. Well, football's come to a stop all over the world, but here in Singapore, the Singapore Premier League is alive and kicking. The first match of match week 3, and we are set for business. And if we are welcoming new viewers with the lack of football in the world to our coverage here across the One Play Sports Network in the world, a very warm welcome indeed. And straight away, taking a pot shot from a mile out, not a million miles away either. Bit of entrepreneurial spirit from Koyoga Nakamura, but the first shot on goal inside the first 10 seconds is over the bar of Kenji, who was the man of the match in that game against the Lion City Sailors. Well, we've seen teams try this, haven't we? And got to buy a ticket to win the lottery, I suppose. That was asking a bit much. And when you bear in mind that goal against Balestier came in the 8th minute, I'm just going to do my mathematics. That's 172 minutes of Singapore Premier League football without a goal at the moment for Tampines Rovers. All eyes on the first time Lewis Jr. has a run at Daniel Bennett. That's mopped up well by Huzaifa to Daniel Bennett, gets his first touch, and it's asking a lot of Shannon Stephen, who just about gathered it, and Shannon now will try and find a safer option, playing it in the middle as Boris Kapotovic goes down and wins the free kick. Tampines trying to move it quickly. Here is Huzaifa. Jordan Webb, oh, he's trying to thread it through to Boris, but Jan Motta, who we must talk about as well. All the sort of attention being focused on Lewis Jr. up front, but there's another Brazilian in the Tanjong Pagar United ranks this season, the giant centre-back Jan Motta. He popped up with that goal from the Takahiro Tanaka corner. Oh, and all of a sudden they're in here. Tampines at nothing with a chance to take the lead, and it's wide from Erwin Shah. What an opportunity. Just a couple of minutes in for Tampines Rovers. They really should have scored. Erwin Shah on his left foot. He scored a goal from a very similar angle in the Community Shield against Hougang. He turned Farid Samid inside out there for pace. Real opportunity. So 2 minutes in and already 2 shots on goal for Tampines Rovers. are an enjoyable team to watch, Tampines, if you're a neutral. And with the kind of presence of Daniel Bennett and Boris Kapotovic, you get the feeling if they needed to find a plan B and start playing long ball football, they could turn to that as well, even though Gavin Lee's philosophy is to play it on the deck and try and play an attractive brand of the game. Here's a chance though for Tanjong Pagar United. Joel Chu blocking that effort. And they're taking a long old while to trot across to take this throw, and it's Farid Samid goes across to try and take. So Farid, throw straight to a black shirt, comes back to Shabil, and knocked away by Nakamura. We'll keep you up to date with the game at Jurong West as well that's underway, with the Young Lions taking on Balestier. Balestier, who've impressed many with their first two performances of the season, only with 1 point to show for them, though, it has to be said. They went down 1-0 here, but were very unlucky in the second half, and then we had that bizarre situation with the floodlight failure at Bishan Stadium. When the floodlights went with 15 minutes to go, they were leading Albrechts by 2-1 and conceded an equaliser right at the death. Seconds after Zuzor really should have had the game wrapped up. Here's Nakamura. Finds Shahiran. Shahiran's got Shannon Stephen. Jordan Webb is trying to do a bit of movement off the ball to get involved, and Jordan Webb gets it straight back to Shahiran. Managing to keep possession quite comfortably at the moment. And it finds its way back to Kenji, who made some really impressive saves in that 1-1 draw against the Lion City Sailors, but I have to remind you that the crossbar saved like the Tanjong Pagar boys twice in the second half. Gabriel Kwak and Pangeli arguably both should have scored in the second stanza. Boris Kapotovic crowded out of it. And they're enjoying the lion's share of possession here, Our Tampines Rovers, and they really should be in front, I suppose. That Irwin Shah opportunity from an identical position almost to the one that he scored from against Tagging in the Community Shield. And Jordan Webb, that's asking too much of him, and Delwinder Singh can guide that out gently for a goal kick to Tanjong Pagar. So we're 5.5 in here, still goalless as well at Jurong West. Young Lions 0, Balestier Khalsa 0. Well, that's what we like from our pundits here on the One Play Sports Network. Big bold calling, and Shukul going for that 2-0 win for Tanjong Pagar United. If he hits that one spot on, everyone will want to be his best friend tonight. That's some bold call. Schedule for the Stags gets even more unrelenting with Lion City Sailors on Wednesday, as the chaps are mentioning. Then with the international break-off as it stands, and of course in the current global climate, fixtures scheduling is all subject to significant change. They've then got 2 games in 4 days in the S-League, here against Taggart on the 24th of March, then 4 days later away at Geylang. They're currently top Group H in the AFC Cup with 3 games remaining. And of those 3 games that remain, 2 are away, and the last match of their AFC Cup schedule is probably the one that's going to decide that group when they entertain Kaya of the Philippines, who they managed to get the draw with. Jordan Webb very nearly got there. Delwinder Singh had to concede the corner. So battling on the AFC Cup front, also battling in the Singapore Premier League. They've got the Singapore Cup and the ASEAN Club Championship, where they're representing Singapore still to come if that manages to survive COVID-19. They've got their first corner of the match now, though. Joel Chu with the delivery. Boris gets there, tries to get the flick on. Daniel Bennett was in the mix there as well. And away it goes. Very little in terms of Tanjong Pagar United coming forward at the moment. Here's Nakamura. Shannon Stephen. Nakamura. Boris Kapotovic is almost being double teamed by Delvinder Singh and Sharbin at the moment. Shannon Stephen is asking a lot of Boris and Tanjong Pagar. Unconvincing with the clearance, and the Stags will come again here. Huzaifa spreads it to the other side of the park to Shahiran. They're going to try and get this to Shannon Stephen, are they? Yes, they are. Shannon Stephen, control's going to be important here. He's got a Tanjong Pagar defender in close attendance. They get it back to Huzaifa, and Shannon Stephen drifts one up looking for Erwin Shah, but distance and direction didn't have the radar switched on that occasion. Well, you heard as well from Shukla with Duncan in the pre-show, suggesting maybe it's difficult for the players and they're playing behind closed doors. As we showed you just before the match, there are little gatherings of hardcore Tampines Rovers fans who've managed to take advantage of some of the open air vantage points here. So there are some fans cheering them on, but it's not the same. The atmospheres you usually get here at our Tampines Hub, particularly in the night games, are really something special, and has to be to Tanjong Pagar United advantage of anything, as Lewis Jr., who's yet to have a meaningful touch, forces Dan Bennett to head that out for a throw to Tanjong Pagar United. We'll check in with the possession stats, shall we, because Singapore Premier League have done a great initiative with Genius this season to bring you live in-running stats. Lewis Jr. might try and get on the end of this, and he gets it across as well. Work to do for Tampines Rovers, and that was very cool indeed from Shahiran. And now let's see what they can do on the counter-attack, as Tanjong Pagar's first attacking foray ends in disappointment. Possession-wise, Tampines with the lion's share of possession. You can catch all the in-game live statistics on the Singapore Premier League website and the Football Association of Singapore. Well worth a visit as well if you want to keep in touch with all the latest news with COVID-19 affecting football around the world. Here's Nakamura to Shannon Stephen. Nakamura with a promising run. Now Dan Bennett. Tampines, every single Tampines player by Shazwan is in Tanjong Pagar United's half now, as Boris Kapidovic with the header harmlessly past the left-hand post of Kenji. So 10.5 in, and it's a muted atmosphere and a muted game, really. In the build-up to this, obviously with Tanjong Pagar United returning after a 6-year absence, it was interesting to see that the last time the teams met, it was a 1-0 win for Tanjong Pagar United. In that game, Mustafik, now the assistant manager of Tampines, captain the Stags, and Nur Alam Shah, who now is team manager, assistant coach of Tanjong Pagar United, came off the bench for Tampines Rovers as Boris Kapotovic could get here. Jordan Webb might scrap this up, and Jordan Webb latches onto a spill from Kenji, and having been man of the match against the Lion City Sailors, the Tanjong Pagar United keeper there has had an absolute shocker, and the Stags lead 12 minutes in. Tampines Rovers 1, Tanjong Pagar United 0. Well, it didn't look like Boris Kapotovic was going to make much happen here, because keep an eye on Jordan Webb. He wasn't really darting into the box with any purpose, but Kenji spilling the cross from Boris, and Jordan Webb gets his 5th goal of the season. The cross, really, he could have even afforded to leave it, Kenji, but after he went for it, he had to hold on to it, because once he spilled it, Jordan Webb won't score an easier goal than this all season. www.jordanwebbs5thgoaloftheseason.com/all competitions. It's his first in the Singapore Premier League. Well, we talked about that last meeting between the two teams in 2014, going further through the record books as Boris Kapotovic is onside here into the area, and Jan Motta did well. Going even further back through the record books, you go back to the time these teams met in March 2004, Tampines 9, Tanjong Pagar United 0 on that occasion, and I was scrolling through the history books to see if there was a bigger winning scoreline in Singapore Premier League history, and I don't think there is. Far too early to talk about 9-0 wins, but this is all Tampines Rovers. Even with the fatigue, they're bossing this game, and now they've got the breakthrough early on. You really wonder if this could be a big score on the way. Remember, a win will take them top. It could change tomorrow, though, when we get set for the match at Hougang. Chance to see how Hougang are coping with their AFC Cup campaign as well. They weren't victors in midweek. They went down by a goal to 0. Oh, Lewis Jr. was hunting there, and Shirel had to be careful and was. Yes, a reminder, tomorrow Hougang against Geylang. Hougang, who along with DPMM, the only two teams with a 100% record in the competition so far, and they've both only played one game each, so that 100% record will be on the line here at our Tampines Hub. Jordan Webb's 12th minute goal, the difference between the sides, and if you were looking at the team most likely to get another, you'd have to say the way Tampines are going here, it will surely be them. And I think there's an element of Gavin Lee that might like to have this game in the bag before half-time, so he can maybe think about resting Boris or Jordan Webb with a view to that game against Lion City Sailors on Wednesday. Uncertainty, obviously. Update from the Singapore Premier League yesterday is that the games will continue as scheduled, but behind closed doors. But that could change very quickly as Joel Chu battles well. Wanted the free kick. I think he was claiming that Nasrul was grabbing hold of him, but eventually the free kick goes to Tanjong Pagar United. Really haven't had a chance to see what Lewis Jr. can do yet. There's not the same intensity or zip to Tanjong Pagar United's performance through this first quarter of an hour as we saw in the first quarter of an hour against the Lion City Sailors, and they tried to come out the blocks really quickly and took that lead midway through the first half with Jan Motta capitalising on uncertainty in the Lion City Sailors defence from a corner. And you already think that their best chance of getting back into this game would be to win a set piece in the Tampines Rovers' final third. There's Shannon Stephen, Boris Kapotovic looking down the line, trying to make sure he stays on. Shannon to Shahiran, Shahiran to Nakamura, who already looks like he's running the game in splendid isolation in the middle of the park. Here's Jordan Webb. Can he go through a gear here? Jordan Webb twisting and turning. No free kick there. Why on earth did Shahadat not just play on there? Jordan Webb, Nakamura. Look at the run of Irwin Shah again. He's a constant menace down that left-hand side. Irwin Shah had a great game in the Community Shield against Hougang. And he looks like he's primed to give Farid Hamid a real tough afternoon here at our Tampines Hub. Here's Daniel Bennett. Nakamura. Irwin Shah to Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb was surrounded by Tanjong Pagar United shirts very quickly, but he's done well to keep that play alive. Shannon Stephen. Looking for the return run with Jahiran and Shannon Stephen, not on the same wavelength, and he'll go out for a goal kick. So we've had a goal here. No scores to tell you about just yet at Geelong West, where the Young Lions, who we covered midweek against Geylang on Wednesday night, convincingly beaten by Geylang, home to Balestier Khalsa, who, on what we've seen so far, you'd think would be comfortable favourites to take maximum points there, but it's goalless. 17 played there as well. Shahiran, Joel Chu. But this is like a training exercise at the moment for Tampines Rovers, just keeping possession seemingly at will. Tanjong Pagar United cannot get a sniff in midfield at the moment. Jordan Webb, Nakamura, look at the run here of Shahiran. Didn't quite come off this time, but Shahiran's still in a forward position and he's going to stay there as well. Joel Chu, Jordan Webb. Well, must be about 25 passes already that Tampines have strung together here, just knocking it from side to side and little triangles. Who's going to pull the trigger and try and find Big Boris in the middle? Nakamura, Jordan Webb. It finds its way to Joel Chu. Here's Boris Kaponovic, tries to get the turn in. Tanjong Pagar United managed to clear. That's handball against Lewis Jr. Yeah, the two Brazilians in the Tanjong Pagar United ranks, 20-year-old Jan Motta and 29-year-old Lewis Jr., who, as Duncan was saying, experience in Malaysian and Indonesian football, so he's familiar to the scene. He's not had much service to work with thus far as we approach the 19-minute mark. Farid Samid. Here's Jan Motta driving through. Ran into Nakamura, who blocked it, but Farid Samid can pick it up, and Farid Samid should have got that back, really. They're very fortunate. It's found its way to Lewis Jr. Lewis Jr. now, can he bring Farid into it? Yes, they can, over the top, and that's not a bad ball either. And a chance all of a sudden for Tanjong Pagar United, and what a chance it was for Ignatius Ang. First touch was okay, it was a second touch that left him in no man's land, really, and he's furious with himself because you get the impression there won't be many chances coming the Jaguars' way this afternoon, and that was certainly one. Farid Samid hoped more than anything drifting that ball into the box. Ignatius Ang with a great first touch, and credit to Daniel Bennett, 42 years young, superb covering tackle. Referee, Mustafa. Just wanting to have a word with Ignatius Ang. I think still a little bit frustrated with that missed opportunity moments ago. Here's Jordan Webb. Say it all the time, don't we? It's all been Tampines Rovers, but they're only 1-0 in front here. And the amount of possession they've enjoyed, they probably would be a little bit disappointed they've not extended this lead by a goal or two already. Webb. Great find of Joel Chu. Joel Chu's attempt to return to Webb is blocked, but they come again with Shahiran. Here's Shannon Stevens seeing a lot of the ball down the right-hand side. Shannon Stevens, Shahiran. Nakamura, it's a containing exercise at the moment for Tanjong Pagar United. Joel Chu back to Nakamura. He likes to hit them from distance, and Nakamura's effort is high and wide. And the goal kick will go to Tanjong Pagar United. Still Young Lions nil, Balestier Khalsa nil in the other game, as Nakamura again is involved. He's probably had more touches than anyone else on the pitch at this stage, Nakamura. This is better from Tanjong Pagar, more promising from Nazrul, but he's bullied off it by Shannon Stevens. And Shannon Stevens got space to operate. And look at the run of Irwin Shah, if he can pick him out. He looks to try and bring in Irwin Shah, just doesn't get across to the Tampines Rovers, number 17. And that's the problem they're going to face, is Tampines Rovers will surely pick them off at will on the counter-attack if the Tanjong Pagar United boys come forward with a bit more ambition, which they're obviously going to have to do at some stage. Here's Dan Bennett to Shahiran. Nakamura. Huzaifa. Jordan Webb. It's a great change of pace, doesn't he? Jordan Webb can really help open up defences, and he'll win a free kick here. And he's holding on to the ball. I wonder whether he fancies taking it himself. We saw in the game on Wednesday night, didn't we? Iqbal Hussain, after a free kick was run, grabbing hold of the ball as if he was determined that he was going to be the one to take it and scoring from it. Jordan Webb's walked away from that, though. As you look at the replay, they've tried to take it quickly, Tampines. 5 goals in all competitions. So it will be Big Boris or Nifty Nakamura to try and give Tampines Rovers a 2-0 lead midway through the first half. Will it be Nakamura with the left or Boris with the right? Kenji lining up a 4-man wall, maybe soon to be 5. They're keeping a high line here, defending this Tanjong Pagar United. The scraps, if the keeper has to save, will be interesting. Boris! Straight into the wall. Think it hit the head of Sharbil there. Danger's not cleared, though, because Joel Chu down the right-hand side has it. Joel Chu looks up, tries to pick out a black shirt very nearly. Gets it through to Boris, but Tanjong Pagar United are able to clear. And Daniel Bennett, well, I thought he misjudged that bounce down, but it was a shove in the back from Ignatius Ang, and the free kick goes the Stags' way. Bennett gets it to Shannon Stephen. Yeah, Motta and Boris, we were talking about the matchup potentially between Daniel Bennett and Lewis Jr., weren't we? But the battle between Jan Motta and Boris Kapotovic is going to be very interesting. Nice ball from Uzaifa. Finds Shannon Stephen dancing into the area. There's a hurry of his shirt there, Shannon Stephen, but he still manages to keep possession. Oh, Shannon Stephen goes down, looking for something. Referee Mustafa was never interested in that. Out to Jordan Webb. This is just Tampines. Wave after wave of attack now. Shahiran. Joel Chu tries to get it down to Boris, but Kenji is there to mop it up. Is it worth having a look at this penalty shout again? Because he wasn't happy, Shannon Stephen. I think he was very clever in defending this Nasrul. Didn't give really the referee enough reason to blow the whistle. And when Shannon Stephen went down there, don't think he had much expectation that he was going to get the decision. Nakamura. Shahiran. Talk about the average age of this Tampines team. Obviously, you've got Daniel Bennett, who's 42, and Jordan Webb, who's 31, but they've got plenty of youngsters on display here, and it's promising for their future. 20-year-old Joel Chu, Shah Shahiran, only 20 as well. 23-year-old Shahrul Sazali, and 23-year-old Kyoga Nakamura, who, as you see him on the ball there, has really been bossing this game from midfield. Nakamura inside. Huzaifa, an unintentional trick. I think he played on himself there, Shahiran. Huzaifa and the free kick goes against Erwin Shah. Delwinder Singh. Tanjong Pagar United, other than that half chance of Ignatius Ang, have done nothing coming forward. Here's Nasrul. Shannon Stephen marshalled that one brilliantly. Those two involved in a real tussle down the Tampines right-hand side. Nakamura, Boris Kapotovic. Oh, that was tight. That was tight. Wouldn't mind seeing that on replay again. Doesn't seem overly happy with the decision. Boris Kapotovic. Let's have a look at this again. It was really tight. Maybe the assistant referee, I think, has just got that right. Credit to him. Tried to hold his run for as long as possible, Boris, but to their credit, Tampines organising their defensive line well enough to not allow the Montenegrin to get through. I think he's offside again here. Yeah, he is. Flag goes up. Boris Kapotovic offside for the second time in his many minutes. Ignatius Ang, or that Daniel Bennett through the back there. He's played the ball, he's a little bit unlucky, but whenever you're tackling a player from behind, even if you get the ball these days, you're always running the risk of considering a free kick awarded against you from the referee. As you see, he's played the ball, but he's also played through Ignatius Ang there. Daniel Bennett made some really committed challenges. I was there as a spectator on Tuesday when they beat Shan United of Myanmar by 2-1, and he had to make a couple of really telling interventions in that second half to make sure Tampines maintain the driving seat in that one. Over this free kick is Suhari. Suhari, well, I'm not sure. Is that the first touch from open play that Shazwan's had in this game? I think it is. Irwin Shah loses out there, and Farid Samid's got some space to operate with. Farid Samid has beaten one. Farid Samid tries to get it through to Lewis Jr. They want a penalty there today, but they're looking for a handball. Another one that might be interesting to have a look back as referee's going to play advantage here. Joel Chu. Now this is where Tanjong Pagar United could be found out on the counter. Jordan Webb, can he get a trick out the locker here? He's glided past Sharbil, and then he'll win the free kick, and it's going to be the first card of the game as well to Sharbil. So an interesting 30 seconds of play there. At one end, a half penalty shout from Tanjong Pagar United, and at the other, first yellow card against Sharbil, who was just beaten for pace, and it was a very cynical grab of the shirt and the shoulder of Jordan Webb. At the other end, here's Farid Samid. Now, are they saying that came up to the hand of Nakamura? Daniel Bennett and Nakamura reacted there. There maybe was a suggestion it glanced the Japanese hand. But the referee, Mustafa, unmoved. Another set piece now for Tanjong Pagar United to defend. And Jordan Webb, who won it, is over it, as is Nakamura. Daniel Bennett's forward. Daniel Bennett, well, I was going to say the oldest player to score in the Singapore Premier League. It must be Alexander Duric. But Daniel Bennett, if he keeps playing, it won't be much longer before he takes that record off a true Singaporean legend in Alexander Duric. Here's Nakamura's delivery. Oh, it's headed away by Delwinder Singh to Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb gets it all the way back to Shirul. Still got plenty of numbers staying forward for this here of the Stags, as Shannon Stephen finds it in some space on the right-hand side. Shahiran, Dan Bennett, drifts it over the top rather cheekily of the imposing figure of Lewis Jr. Jordan Webb, Nakamura. And that's straight into the path of Jan Motter, who tries to find, or Delwinder Singh I should say, tries to find his countryman, but unable to do so. Nakamura. Half an hour gone here at OTH. It's still Tampines Rovers 1, Tanjong Pagar United 0. Jordan Webb's 12th minute goal after a mistake from Kenji in the Tanjong Pagar United goal separates the sides. Just a little sign of life from Tanjong Pagar United, and as ever, they'll want the second goal here, Tampines, to give them a buffer. They've not got it yet. They might get it now, though, because Tampines have stolen it in midfield once more, and it's Huzaifa to the edge of the area. Huzaifa tries to beat one man too many. And Daniel Bennett tussling with Lewis Jr. Lewis Jr. is furious. He's not got the decision there for a free kick. Nakamura still pulling the strings in midfield. To their credit, Tanjong Pagar United are keeping a decent defensive discipline here, but as we saw in the second half against Lion City Sailors, that's a formula that when you start having to chase a game can't really last, and even though they only managed the couple of efforts at the crossbar in the end in the second half, Lion City Sailors really should have scored in that second stanza. Now, here's Lewis Jr., and he's got a runner ahead of him as well. Ignatius Ang has peeled off, and Lewis Jr. caught in between there, and whatever that was, just back through to Shazwan in the Tampines Rovers goal. Nakamura again, he's not being hassled at all when he picks it up in that deep midfield position for Tampines. Here's Shannon Stephen. Boris Kabotovic obviously created the goal courtesy of the Kenji mistake into the path of Jordan Webb. He hasn't seen too much of the ball. Nakamura. Jordan Webb now switching to this right-hand side. And this is a tactic that Tampines employ regularly, don't they? Switching Jordan Webb midway through a half. Shannon Stephen. His attempted cross is blocked by Delwinder. Yeah, always wary of that when Jordan Webb switches to this right-hand side. It's a great luxury that Tampines have, being able to switch it from one side to the other. And he really is a difference maker and has been. Now level on goals this season with Boris Kapotovic, 5 in all competitions. They're 1 each in terms of Singapore Premier League goals. Incredible to think that Jordan Webb's been here now since 2010. Criminal that they didn't get together and make him a naturalised Singaporean. Whatever reason that was, I'm sure there was something to it behind the scenes. His attitude, I think, has been questioned on 1 or 2 occasions, but under Gavin Lee, you can't really fault Jordan Webb's play, notwithstanding the red card against Howgang in the Community Shield. He's been a difference maker for Tampines Rovers, and it's his influence that really has helped them negate the loss of Megumi, Raitora Megumi, the Japanese import, who's now playing for Felder in Malaysia. Right, so a corner for Joel Chu. Another set-piece opportunity on the 33-minute mark. Can Tampines double their lead? Shannon Stevens up for this! And Shannon Stevens' effort just goes wide. But again, Tampines knocking on the door for the second goal. You fancy they want just to really put this game to bed and maybe start turning attentions to Lion City Sailors on Wednesday. I can tell you that Balestier Khalsa lead Young Lions by 1-0 as well. That game half an hour old like this one. So Balestier Khalsa looking to build on 2 promising performances this season that have yielded no wins. They now lead, looking for their first 3 points of the season against the Young Lions team, who were thumped here in midweek. 3-0 by Geylang. It's over the top. Boris Kapotovic chasing this down, but Kenji gets it. That was handball, I think. Well, I'm not sure Kenji let go of that before he left the area. The replay will be very interesting. And all of a sudden, having got away with that potentially, Shahadat's into the area and he gets it across, and Daniel Bennett clears it when Lewis Jr. is lurking, only as far as Fareed Hamid. Fareed with the cross, and Shazwan, I think he was going to take that, but Daniel Bennett was taking no chances. Well, that was a dramatic 60 seconds of play. Was that handball from Kenji outside the area? Jordan Webb plays it in. Boris was bearing down. Kenji took it, and that was handball for mine. Well, 50-50, I suppose. Maybe give the keeper the benefit of the doubt, but he might have dodged a bullet and run up the other end. They now have a corner, their first of the game. And remember what happened the first time they got a corner against the Lion City Sailors a couple of Friday nights back. Halim Hazawan has given Balestier Khalsa the lead at Jurong West here. Can someone step up and, against all odds, level this up for Tanjong Pagar United? It was around now they scored that opening goal against the Lion City Sailors as well from a corner. Shazwan is felled there and he wins the free kick, and the opportunity comes and goes. Well, as always, if you're watching on the One Play Network on our Facebook channels, you've got the option to comment down below. Did you think that Kenji handled that out the area? I think potentially he did, as Shazwan is fouled to relieve Tampines' pressure. But they want this second goal, Tampines. They need to put this game to bed because they've been outplayed. They've ceded the majority of possession of Tanjong Pagar United, but they've only got to create one opportunity here, and all of a sudden Tampines, who might be fatigued in the second stanza off the back of that 2-1 win against Shan United, could present them with some problems. And they were in control of that game as well at 2-0, and Shan United scored late to give them an uneasy finish. Jordan Webb finds Joel Chu brilliantly. Joel Chu now finds Shannon Stephen. Boris Kapotovic is lurking over on that far side. Boris might jump up for this. Boris Kapotovic gets there, and I think that's going to be, what's a goal kick has been awarded, has it? Boris was half angling to win a corner. Boris Kapotovic, like most, chasing Stipe Plazabad, who came up with 3 goals for Howgang in their win against the Young Lions by 4-1. Sharbil managing to stop Boris Kapotovic there. Sharbil, remember, on a yellow card for a foul on Jordan Webb. That's over the top, looking for Lewis Jr. What's his pace like? Not too shabby. And there was no foul there. They can only come up with the throw as we enter the final 8.5 minutes of the first half that's seen only 1 goal. Couple of interesting talking points. None more so than Kenji potentially handling it outside the area. Lewis Jr. getting that across, but it's a vain chase for Nishikawa. I haven't really talked much about Nishikawa. He's not really been in the game so far. That's something that I'm sure Hari Suap and Noam Shawa want to look at half-time. Shodo Nishikawa. And they clearly are missing, as you'd expect, Takehiro Tanaka. Shannon Stephen Back to the impressive Nakamura, who continues to get things going through the middle of the park. Well, Nakamura, it's a rare mistake from him. And Ignatius Ang is trying to capitalise. Ignatius Ang, what's his pace like? Down this left-hand side, Nakamura covering back his own mistake brilliantly. And it's a throw to the Jaguars, midway inside Tampines territory. So at the moment, 2 1-0 scorelines in our Saturday afternoon Singapore Premier League action. A warm welcome wherever you're watching around the world. The Singapore Premier League managing to get the games up and running this weekend in the third match week of the season. Behind closed doors though, unfortunately a measure necessitated by the ongoing COVID-19 situation. Nakamura to Dan Bennett to Shannon Stephen. Now Joel Chu, a real promising youngster Joel Chu. It was he who created the goal for Boris Kapotovic in that 1-0 win against Balestier in their only other home game so far this season in the Singapore Premier League. And since that match they've been beaten in Brunei and have secured a goalless draw in the Philippines and a 2-1 win at Jurong West Stadium on Tuesday night against Shan United of Myanmar. Shannon Stephen again being afforded acres of space on this near side. Not too much running going on ahead of him now though. Nakamura. It finds Shahrul. Well, Tanjong Pagar United are just sitting back here and letting Irwin Shah maybe work his magic in the area. It's an important touch in the end that came from Sharbil to break that one down. And it's going to be a free kick, I think the referee's awarded there, rather than the throw. Tanjong Pagar United trying to do themselves out of a free kick. Farid Samid, the 30-year-old captain, trying to link up front here. Ignatius Sang, oh, there was a ball on there to Lewis Jr., just couldn't thread it through to the Brazilian. Farid Samid stayed in a very forward position here, and Farid Samid now up against Dan Bennett. Dan Bennett gets it back to Shazwan. Well, we talked about Kenji being the Jaguars man of the match in that draw against the Lion City Sailors. Remember, Shazwan was man of the match in that 1-0 win against Balestier here. A string of saves, including a penalty save from Shuhei Hoshino, after Boris Kapotovic gave the Stags an early lead in this one. He's not really been called upon to make a save so far. Lewis Jr. Size of him, absolute giant of a man, the Brazilian number 10 for Tanjong Pagar United. Ignatius Sang, now Nazrul. Ignatius Sang, oh, Nakamura's picked their pockets and Boris Kapotovic could be in business. He plays it back to Nakamura. Both Jordan Webb and Boris Kapotovic are up for this. Nakamura swings it in and it's belted away convincingly by the Brazilian centre-back Jan Motta. I think something that Duncan and Shukul were talking about in the pre-show, despite their dominance here, they are just a little bit subdued, aren't they, Tampines Rovers? They're not playing at 100% with the demanding schedule that's made this their 8th game of the campaign already, and only Tanjong Pagar's 2nd. Just haven't got the strength and depth to rest more than a couple of players. Obviously, Zairuddin Mehmedovic is one of the players rested tonight as Nakamura can't get that past Delwinder Singh. Got to give Jordan Webb a lot of credit, and surely Gavin Lee as well. He's obviously working with him. He covers so much of the field now, Jordan Webb. 1 minute he's over on that favoured left-hand side, then he'll switch to the right, and as you saw there, he's willing, ready and able, willing being the operative word in his case, to get back and help out and not be accused of being one of those players that just loiters around the final third to get the glory. He puts the yards in for Tampines. Here's Nakamura. Huzaifa. It finds its way eventually to Jordan Webb, who's up against Shahadat. Jordan Webb along the ground with a flick on, coming through to Irwin Shah. Just didn't catch it in his stride after good work from Shahiran. So, final 3 minutes and change of a first half that has really come across like a game's been played behind closed doors. That goalkeeping mistake from Kenji after the cross from Boris Kapotovic, laying the opener on the plate for Jordan Webb. And that's the difference between the two sides. Second goal before the break that would surely kill this game off. A reminder, Haswan Halim has given Balestier Council the lead at Jurong West against the Young Lions. Here's Lewis Jr. That was a nice touch and a lovely bit of play from Nishikawa, who's been quiet to this point, but he's made a real impact there. And he'll win a set-piece opportunity for Tanjong Pagar in a dangerous, dangerous area. And that's going to be the first yellow card for a Stag, as Huzaifa is in the book now. Well, he's been quiet, hasn't he, Nishikawa? But that was a delightful touch. And, well, make up your own mind whether he was a little bit unfortunate there to find yellow for that. Huzaifa got a little bit of the ball. And certainly took a bit of the Japanese as well. But that's better from Shoda Nishikawa. His most meaningful contribution to the game so far. And bearing in mind how dominant they've been, Tampines Rovers would be kicking themselves if they only went into the break on level terms. So they've got defending to do here. Surely it's too far out to have a poke at goal. Well, it's Ignatius Ang over this. Ignatius, who's had Tanjong Pagar United's only real half opportunity that didn't result in a shot troubling Shazwan. What can he manufacture here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jaguars on the edge of the area. Motta's up for this as well. Ignatius Ang's delivery. Oh, it was looking for Farid Samid, and they've all missed it out in the end, and Daniel Bennett has done well. I think he must have thought that took a Tampines touch and it was going out for a corner, so he did well to only make it a throw. Again, just a couple of signs here that Tampines Rovers are going to need to do some goal scoring in this game in the second half to make sure they win it. Nazrul now looks like he's going to attempt the long throw. Farid Samid remains up, as does Lewis Jr. Oh, that's not troubling the Tampines defence that time. Comes back to Jan Motta. The Brazilian. Trying to find Farid Samid, and that was a brilliant ball, and it's found Farid Samid. Farid Samid looking to thread it through to Lewis Jr. and Tampines clear it, but that's the ball of the match for me so far. Jan Motta finding Farid Samid 50 yards away with an absolute pinpoint laser delivery. Lovely work from the Brazilian Jan Motta. All the fuss about Lewis Jr. I think Jan Motta's going to be equally as important to Tanjong Pagar United this season. Pinpoint ball that was. Nakamura, or Jordan Webb would have been offside there, so he's pulled up on his run. Just the 1 minute of time to be added on at the end of the first half. It's been a first half for the vast majority dominated by Tampines, but if Jan Motta can keep delivering balls like this cross field, look at that. And a lovely first touch from Farid Samid as well. Clearing the danger for Tampines was Shahiran to stop Lewis Jr. potentially poaching in with an equaliser right at the end of the first half. Here's Jan Motta again, and of course as a player, if you ping one of those in, the confidence rises and you try and get another, but Nasser unable to control that one. So that, I think, will just about be that for a first 45 minutes that saw a 12th minute goal to Jordan Webb, but no further scoring. They're into time added on at the end of the first half in Jurong West. Balestier Council leading Young Lions by a Haswan Halim goal to nil. As our referee Mustafa blows for half-time. Behind closed doors here at our Tampines Hub, it's the Stags who are looking to bounce back in the league after going down 2-0 in Brunei, who lead the returning Jaguars by a goal to nil. Boris Kapolovic, great work down the left-hand side, spilled by keeper Kenji for the Tanjong Pagar side, and Jordan Webb with the simplest of finishes for his 5th goal in all competitions this season. At the break here at OTH, it's Tampines Rovers leading Tanjong Pagar by a goal to nil. Duncan and Shakur, along with Barbara, out and about, bringing you a full half-time show shortly. And make sure you rejoin us for the second half. It's live Singapore Premier League football this Saturday. Behind closed doors, Tampines Rovers 1, Tanjong Pagar United 0.
just the one goal at the break between Tampines Rovers and Tanjong Pagar United. A Jordan Webb goal after 12 minutes. I mean, Tampines Rovers lead by 1-0, Shuko. And we said before the game, Tanjong Pagar United did so well against Lion City Sailors, got in the face of the players of Lion City Sailors. They haven't done that in the first half here.
Yes, I agree with you, Duncan. I think it's a disappointment to see Tanjong Pagar not starting just like how they start against Lion City Sailors. They only pick themselves up after 20 minutes, and then you see there's life in the game.
Yeah, the damage was done by then. We looked at the changes, just one change in personnel for Tanjong Pagar United, but there has been a change in shape. It looks to be a back three and a back five when they're defending against Tampines, and that was in mind to just keep Tampines at bay during the first half.
I think they are trying to hold Tampines from playing and maybe playing these through balls, but it seems that it's not working because we saw ourselves that they managed to play these through balls, Irwan Shah making the runs from the back line and cutting in to give a low cross, all this kind of thing. So I think they need to change that.
What have Tampines been doing right? There has been, of course, the fatigue factor, but they've been playing decent. And have Tanjong Pagar United allowed them to play, or have they been good this first half?
Well, from my opinion, I think Tanjong Pagar is allowing them to play. They are not pressing fast enough. Players like Jordan Webb, Joel is getting a lot of balls and getting to play all these balls in between the back line. So I think Tanjong Pagar is making things easy for Tampines Rovers.
Of course, they have improved as the half has wore on, Tanjong Pagar United, but they were 1-0 down after 12 minutes, and Jordan Webb on the score sheet once again. And we do talk about the Kopitovic-Jordan Webb partnership, and it was that partnership that saw the first goal of the game. Kopitovic doing well down the left. As we see the walkout here of both sides, Kopitovic doing well down the left, finding some space from this through ball. And was there any danger when that ball went in, Shuko?
Yes, this is definitely a danger. A good ball, good through pass. This is what I'm saying. Joel having a lot of time on the ball to pick up who he want to pass in between the back line.
Any question marks on the defending or goalkeeping?
I think there's a risk playing with a back five. This might cause a miscommunication because you don't know who you want to mark. So this happens in the game.
Yeah, no clear communication between the defenders and the goalkeeper. And that ball palmed away into the path of a gleeful Jordan Webb on the score sheet once again, as he was in the AFC Cup on Tuesday against Shan United. That's a combination, Kopitovic and Jordan Webb.
Excellent combination, these two players.
Those
Good
are the
chemistry.
dynamic duo of the SPL so far. Well, as the half wore on, Tanjong Pagar United did get better. And here's an opportunity here, a rare one, but Ignatius Ang almost got the better of Daniel Bennett, but last-ditch defending by the 42-year-old.
Like I said, Daniel Bennett, experienced players. He might be slow, but he can read the game very, very well. I think this shows everybody what he's still capable of doing.
He does have tricky footwork, doesn't he, Ignatius Ang?
Yes.
Just couldn't get it past the veteran defender. And Tampines, they got into goal. They took shots from range as well. And this was a long-range effort by Kyoga Nakamura.
Good effort from Kyoga. I think it was a good shot. Nobody's pressing. He has to take his chances.
Oh, that's right. There has been a feature of Tanjong Pagar United not getting in the face of the Tampines Rovers players, and a pot shot, but if you don't buy a ticket, you won't win the lottery. Here's another big incident in the first half. Look where Kenji Rushdie comes.
Wow. This is definitely out of the box. I thought that it would be called for foul. It's definitely out of the box, as we can see.
A very hard one to call, but Kenji Rushdie playing with fire there. Maybe we'll get a closer look here. Did he carry it outside of the area?
Definitely.
Very hard to tell indeed. Well, not too many chances to talk about in the first half, but still anything can happen in the second half. What will Hairi Suap, Hasrin Jailani, Noor Alam Shah be saying to the players right now?
Well, I think at the moment they need to pick themselves up in the first place. First 15 minutes again, like I said, they need to go and put pressure on Tampines Rovers. The midfield especially, they need to work hard to win the ball back. Because at the moment, whenever they win possession, they lose the possession too quickly. So I think they need to work on that first.
Well, still not over yet between Tampines Rovers and Tanjong Pagar United. All right, weird atmosphere in the stadium today with no fans. Or have there been some fans in the little creeks and corners of our Tampines Hub? Barbara Latimer is pitch side with this report.
Thanks, Duncan. We're here at halftime, and the energy is still buzzing in this match. However, a slightly different vibe going on, given that it is the first match being played with closed doors. Now, our Tampines Hub, it's a beautiful space. It's brand new. It's airy. However, the way that it's structured does mean that there's a little bit of leeway for the fans. So despite there being no one in the stands at the moment, there is a little bit of leeway, pockets of space that fans are able to come and watch, despite this being available on, like channels and online for streaming. Whether or not it is affecting the players, there's usually a lot more cheers and encouragement going on. We're not too sure. We've seen one goal from Tampines Rovers, a combination between Jordan and Boris. Whether or not we'll be able to see more goals in the second half, I'm not too sure. But we have heard cheers from both Tanjong Pagar side as well as Tampines Rovers fans as well. Just being able to catch that little glimpse of the match live, I think does play a little bit of a difference with those little pockets. And as well from the library as well, we've got a couple of people sitting there being able to catch the match as well. We've got our second half coming up very, very soon. That's going to be exciting. We're going to see any more goals. I'm not too sure. We've got the second half coming up after the break.
Welcome back live to our Tampines Hub. Players back out on the pitch, ready for the second half. A reminder at Geelong West, Balestier Council leading Young Lions by a goal to nil. So 2-1-0 scorelines in the Saturday soccer that's beating COVID-19 here in Singapore. Singapore Premier League open for business. There are few hardy souls, as the guys and Duncan alluded to, that have taken advantage of the layout here of our Tampines Hub. So we are getting some people watching on. Most of them, it must be said, Tampines Rovers fans. And as it stands, Tampines Rovers will be top of the Singapore Premier League tonight, courtesy of the lead they have. But you do get the impression there could be a goal in this for Tanjong Pagar United, possibly. So Tampines Rovers will want to put this game to bed as early as they can in the second half. And it looks to me like there's going to be a change. And it's interesting that having rested him, Zarudin Mehmedovic is coming on at the start of the second half. So over there on the touchline, Mehmedovic is getting ready to come on. We wait and see who he'll be replacing. I'm just trying to work it out from looking out there. Can I see... I'm looking to see Shah Shahiran still out there. Daniel Bennett, the captain today, is giving the team instructions, but Mehmedovic is clearly going to make that midfield even stronger should he come on. And interesting that Gavin Lee feels that's necessary. And it will be Shah Shahiran who makes way. So Shahiran replaced by Mehmedovic. And again, I'm sure Gavin Lee would have preferred not to have had to play Mehmedovic in this game, bearing in mind they have the Lion City Sailors should the schedule remain the same on Wednesday. No changes at the break for Tanjong Pagar United as our referee. Zulfikar Mustafa gets ready to start the second half, and a reminder, Duncan mentioned it right at the top of the show, only 6 substitutes on the bench for Tanjong Pagar United, and of course one of them is a goalkeeping change in Farsar Iskander, so limited options off the bench for Tanjong Pagar United. They have the blow, if you're just joining us, of Takehiro Tanaka being out as well. So all to do for the Jaguars as Lewis Jr., their Brazilian striking star, gets the second half underway here at our Tampines Hub. It's going to be Tanjong Pagar in the red and white playing from left to right in this second stanza. Tampines Rovers in the black playing from right to left. Straight away, Jan Motta, whose long balls have been legendary in the first half, and his long ball here has created an opportunity early for Tanjong Pagar United. Is Dewinder Singh. Nakamura, as ever, right on top of this, and here we'll get an early glimpse of the further steal that Mehmedovic will bring to the midfield, and with Nakamura dominating in that holding role, Mehmedovic will have the licence to go forward here and potentially make it easier for the Stags to link up with Jordan Webb and Boris Kapotovic. Nakamura's almost playing as a sweeper at times, he's playing so deep. Jordan Webb now with some space down this left-hand side. Faritz Hamid waits if he can get past Shahadat. Has to go back to Huzaifa, one of 2 players on a yellow card after that first half. Sharbil of Tanjong Pagar is the other. Daniel Bennett, Nakamura. Went past Boris that time, but it gets back to Nakamura, who plays it back to Shirul, to Huzaifa. Huzaifa switches play. It's Shannon Stephen over on that far side. And there's runners coming here. Boris Kapotovic is one of them. And he had to be careful, Jan Motta, there, because I thought there might have been a little bit of a nudge in the back. That's going to be a foul against Mehmedovic, against Nishikawa, who created one memorable passage of play in the first half, the Japanese, Shodai Nishikawa. The ball from Suhari. Finds Shahadat. Shahadat's got Faritz Fahid on the left-hand side, and he tries to find Faritz. They've got Lewis Jr. waiting in the middle, and they'll get another corner out of this. Huzaifa was forced to concede the corner there. It's more promising at the start of this second half from Tanjong Pagar United, that's for sure. It's Gavin Lee, who was concerned enough to have to go to the bench and bring on Mehmedovic to try and get this game won as quickly as possible. And Tanjong Pagar United get only their second corner of the game. Ignatius Ang over to take it. They've got Jan Motta up. Now, Jan Motta is going to be a real force, the Brazilian, this season at set pieces. Delwinder Singh is up there as well. Joel Chu, the only man left outside of the penalty area for Tampines. Corner comes in. Good header from Daniel Bennett. What a marvel he is at 42 years of age. Made some really telling contributions in the 2-1 win against Shan United in the AFC Cup. He's made another telling contribution there. Meanwhile, Faritz Hamid with a great first touch almost gets an opportunity. Now, the flag's up here. Are they saying Lewis Jr. came back from an offside position there? Frustration for the Brazilian. Nakamura takes it quickly. Let's have a look at this. Fantastic first touch from Faritz Hamid, but yeah, he was coming back from an offside position there, the Brazilian. Mehmedovic takes that well over the top, looking for Boris. Referee not interested in the free kick against Delwinder Singh there. Much to the disappointment of Big Boris, who's still on the deck. The Jaguars play on, and this game, I keep saying it, it's been all Tampines. But Tanjong Pagar United They're nothing if not gutsy. They're not going to be rolling over and getting beaten 8-9-0 by teams this season, despite the obvious deficiencies in their strength in depth when it comes to the squad. And they will be the fresher of these two sides. Jordan Webb, though. Good pace from Jordan Webb, but he hit this first time. Oh, he was trying to get it across to Boris, wasn't he? Might have been better served going for goal at a narrow angle. Shahadat. Look at that from Mehmedovic. It's getting feisty out there at the start of the second stanza. Nakamura to Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb finds Joel Chu in space. Joel Chu beats one. Joel Chu beats two. Joel Chu tries to get the cross in. And an opportunity to get it away for Suhari. Nazrul showed good strength there, Nazrul. Ignatius Ang. Only Lewis Jr. up top, but Ignatius Ang has done very well. Ignatius Ang, 3 red shirts against 6 black ones, but he still goes, Ignatius Ang, and now another free kick they want, they don't get. This time from Tanjong Pagar United, and Shannon Stephen has latched onto it. He times the run brilliantly this time, Boris. Boris Kamolovic up against Jan Motta. Tries to thread it through to Shannon Stephen, and it'll be a goal kick. I think Boris wants the corner, but goal kick is the decision. Let's have a look at this. Was there a touch? Well, before we have a look at that, let's look at this from Ignatius Ang. Ignatius Ang, goodness gracious me, he sent his eye for a postcard with that bit of play. And in the end, well, you've got to say that's a free kick. He's got to feel a bit hard done by. His eye, for to his credit, battled back, but it looked like a free kick to me, particularly on replay. Lewis Jr., another hearty challenge that goes unpunished. Eventually, it's given after the advantages initially played by Zulfikar Mustafa. Noel Amshar is deep in conversation with the 4th official, who today is Chan Kwok Wai. And now Lewis Jr. with Erwin Shah sheepishly walking away. It's like a knock on the knee or ankle on the left-hand side of Lewis Jr. Let's have a look at this. Erwin Shah, well, he's just got into there, hasn't he? He must have made contact with the ankle. But this game's not over. Tampines Rovers need a second goal. And at the moment, Tanjong Pagar United have started this second half much brighter than they started the first. Jan Motta, goodness gracious me, his long-range delivery is decent. And that wasn't an easy ball to take, but Shannon Stephen has stolen it away. Nishikawa forced into conceding the throw. And is that going to be over the head of Delwinder Singh? The big number 4 tracked back well. Here's Jan Motta again. It's almost like short passes aren't in his repertoire. Made a good one there, though. Oh, that's great work from Mehmedovic for the steal. Mehmedovic with Jordan Webb up in support. And that's going to be a free kick. And again, whenever you put a challenge in from behind, Sahari on that occasion, you're almost always going to get pinged by the referee. So Mehmedovic and Nakamura over this. That's another advantage of having Mehmedovic off from the bench. He gives you another option from the set pieces. Will it be his right foot or Nakamura's left? Daniel Bennett's up for this on the far post. He always seems to pop up for a goal or two every season, doesn't he, the big man? And they're looking for him, I think, here. Jan Motta gets away from a tangle with Shannon Stephen. But Tampines are straight back in business, and Jordan Webb's got some space to work with. Jordan Webb, good first touch from the Canadian. And Jordan Webb does well to hustle and get it back. That's been the big difference in Jordan Webb's game for me over the last couple of seasons. He really has become a grafter as well as a skills guy. Mehmedovic, Daniel Bennett. So many times in this game, all 10 outfield players for Tampines have been inside Tanjong Pagar United territory. Mehmedovic thinks about Jordan Webb. And then as he tries to get it to him, it's blocked by Shahadat. That's good improvisation, finding Nakamura. Nakamura into the area. Nakamura tried to thread it through to Boris and across the face of goal. And somehow no one got on the end of it. Shannon Stephen could only watch as it drifts out for a throw. Well, that was great hustle from Nakamura. Managed to see off Nishikawa. And Delwinder Singh eventually just did enough, but if Shannon Stephen had been a bit more enterprising with his run there, he would have been presented with an easy opportunity to make it 2-0. Tampines Rovers exerting their authority once more. Nakamura, Huzaifa, Daniel Bennett. At times it still resembles a bit of a training match, this. So dominant are Tampines in possession, but they only have the one goal to show for it. And Shannon Stephen can't get the ball past Nazrul that time. Shannon Stephen. Huzaifa. Tampines passing. It's been exceptional. Sometimes it's their movement really to give the players the extra option that may be lacking. But credit as well, Tanjong Pagar United have kept their defensive discipline under constant pressure almost. Here's Lewis Jr. Can he release Ignatius Ang? Yes, he can. Can Lewis Jr. get back in support? Shardat's up there as well, but Ignatius Ang showing a great turn of pace. Ignatius Ang trying to cross it. Might come to Lewis Jr., but Daniel Bennett gets a crucial touch. And that was great tracking back as well from Shirul. And Tampines Rovers survive once more. Tampines not having this all their own way. And Ignatius Ang has been a real bright spark for Tanjong Pagar United in this game. Daniel Bennett just doing enough and Shirul helping him out as well. Now is this Nazrul going for the long throw. Tried it once in the first half and didn't quite work. I think he's looking for a runner here. And eventually he goes down the line trying to find Lewis Jr. Only Shardat in the middle. Ignatius Ang. Ignatius Ang. Good work from Daniel Bennett once more. And again, Lewis Jr. showing some frustration. Now Boris could be onto this. Kenji's come a mile out of his area. Luckily this time he doesn't use his hands. And he does clear the danger for now. But Tampines are coming again. Crossfield ball. And it's another beauty. Seen some great long-range passing in this game. Erwin Shah gets the better of Farid Samid. It hangs up in the air, but Boris can't attack it, and Jan Motta can bring it away. Shirul. Jordan Webb, as he tends to do with a license to roam, now playing through the middle. 1 minute the left, 1 minute down the right, then the next through the middle. Shirul. Tanjong Pagar United with a bank of 5 and a solid bank of 4. Just trying to hold out this Tampines tide at the moment. Can the Stags get the second goal that would, I think, kill this game off? It won't be dead as long as it stays 1-0. Jordan Webb took a deflection. And that's advantage being played. Shannon Stephen with a decent cross, and Kenji came, and it was his own defender that got in his way. And they've dodged a bullet there. I think it was Nazrul, was it? Or maybe Sharbil. And the referee is going to show a yellow card for that challenge that still sees a Stag on the deck. Well, let's have a look here at the decision that initially didn't come. It was Joel Chu that was felled by Nazrul. And I think Nazrul will go into the book alongside Sharbil, who nearly got in his own keeper's way there to cause catastrophe. There'll be a delay while Joel Chu is treated. Let's have a look at this one more time, because it was an interesting passage of play. Joel Chu, well, he was clattered into by Nazrul, who's picked up a yellow for his troubles, and he does look in some discomfort. He's hobbling away. He'll have to go off the field of play, though, to be reintroduced as Tampines get ready for their third corner of the game. Not made too much happen with the first two, as Gavin Lee and Mustafic, the assistant coach and coach, look on. Still Balestier Kausa 1, Young Lions nil at Geelong West. Here, Kenji gets a solid punch to Mehmedovic's corner, only as far as Nakamura. Nakamura swings one in. Shannon Stephen will be disappointed he didn't make a connection there. He was in isolation, Shannon Stephen. And again, a late call. They do not like that decision, Tampines. And was that Joel Chu? No, it wasn't, was it? Yes, it was. It was Joel Chu that conceded the free kick as Shardat. Oh, Farid's caught flat-footed. Gets another chance though for Samid, and he's got support up with Lewis Jr. and Shardad as well. Lewis Jr. looking for the 1-2 I fancy from Farid Samid. The flag's going to go up here. It's offside, which is a real shame because it was a good run from Nishikawa. It just didn't time it right. But good thinking in Tanjong Pagar United. Another example of how this game is not dead yet. And they're about to make their first change, Tanjong Pagar United, as we get another look at that offside call, rightly called against Nishikawa. They're about to introduce Surya Prakesh. He's going to replace Shardat. So Surya, both teams now having made one change. Huzaifa, Nakamura. Nice turn from Mehmedovic. Nakamura, Mehmedovic. Mehmedovic, oh, that was a real committed challenge from Sharbel, who's on a yellow card, remember, so he had to be spot on there. Good footwork from Lewis Jr. Unfortunately, not the same from Ignatius, who just can't get on the end of it. And Lewis Jr. continue. You can just see him on the right-hand corner of your screen there, starting to really get frustrated with how they're not making anything happen. The Jaguars in the final third. Nakamura. Mehmedovic. Another challenge and another free kick and another yellow card coming this time to Delwinder Singh. The third Tanjong Pagar United player to go into the book as Mehmedovic takes the tumble. Final half an hour then, and still only the one goal here, and still only the one goal in Jurong West, where that game is about 2 minutes behind us. Young Lions 0. Balestier Khalsa 1 has one with the goal for Balestier as they look to pick up their first 3 points of the season. Tampines looking to pick up their second win of the campaign, having lost to DPMM last time out, previously beaten Balestier here in their opening game of the season. A win here would take them top, with Hougang able to reclaim top spot if they manage to get a win tomorrow, subject to goal difference. Well, having won their first game, Hougang 4-1, unless there's an avalanche of goals from Tampines Rovers in the second half, it'll be a win that would take Hougang back to the top. Nice touch from Huzaifa. Look at Boris Kapotovic trying to get goal side. Showed real good strength, but illegally, according to referee Zulfikar Mustafa. Maybe offside. Let's have another look at this. It's played in to Boris. No question of him being offside. He was onside all day long. I think just maybe a judge to have given a nudge to Sharbel. Nakamura. Well, the shift that Nakamura's put in, I hope he's going to be fresh enough for the Lion City Sailors on Wednesday. He's been a colossus in the middle of the park for Tampines tonight. Well, welcome if you're watching around the world. Obviously, the world starved of professional football this weekend, but the Singapore Premier League for now is up and running behind closed doors. You're watching live AIA Singapore Premier League coverage of Tampines Rovers, last season's runners-up against Tanjong Pagar United, back in the SPL after a 6-year break. And if you are just joining us, you've missed the only goal of the game, scored in the 12th minute by Jordan Webb after good work by Boris Kapotovic down the left and a spill from Kenji. And that's the difference between the two sides here at our Tampines Hub in the east coast of Singapore, where local time is just gone 6:45 in the evening. And do join us again tomorrow for Hougang against Geylang. We'll be bringing you that one live, 5:30 p.m. local kickoff time. And again, there'll be a pre-show with Duncan Elias and Barbara Latimer from 5 p.m. Can't deny that with the doors closed here and no significant crowd to talk of, other than those that have sneakily snuck around our Tampines Hub to watch it from the nooks and crannies, the atmosphere is a little bit subdued and the game subdued as well. But can this corner from Joel Chu light it up again? Joel Chu's delivery, Kenji comes under absolutely no pressure and claims. And Kenji tries to get it to Ignatius and quickly. Ignatius does well to come out on top of that particular battle. And they're furious on the Tanjong Pagar bench. Up in arms of Noel Amshar and Hari Suat wanting a card to be shown here. I think Shiro's going to get away with it, but they'll win the free kick. And again, this is interesting. While we're looking at this replay, the referee's been told something, I think, in his ear there, and he wants a serious word with Huzaifa, but Ignatius Ang did brilliantly initially to win that and eventually come up with the free kick. But can Tanjong Pagar United make one of these count? They've had to deal with scraps. There's been no clear-cut opportunity for Lewis or anyone up front yet. Shazwan does enough, and they've got this to Mehmedovic, and the counter-attack is on here. There are 5 black shirts pouring in to the Tanjong Pagar United area. Jordan Webb can get it to Mehmedovic, decides to go back to Irwin Shah. And I'm not really enamoured with the urgency that Tampines Rovers showed there. They need a second goal to kill this game off. Now what on earth is going on? Daniel Bennett, I mean, this at times is coming across like a training ground match sometimes. Pace is now slowing to a walk. Jordan Webb trying to ignite the game with a promising run that's not picked out by a teammate. But if they do go on to win this game by just the goal to nil, then fair play to Tampines Rovers. But they're, for me, just trying to coast through the rest of this game to preserve themselves for Wednesday. And when you do that, you always run the risk that Tanjong Pagar United, with the likes of Lewis Jr., with the likes of Jan Motta for a set piece, with the likes of Ignatius Ang looking lively, always a danger they can pop up with an equaliser. A second goal is required here, I fancy, from Tampines Rovers. And they aren't showing too much ambition to try and get it. Irwin Shah dropping very deep. The substitute trying to close him down. Soria. Limited in terms of the options off the bench now. I think at some point, if they're chasing a goal, Hari would have to throw on Hadi Putradia. Mehmedovic. Nakamura. Well, one thing they're not, Tanjong Pagar United, is disorganised, and that does stand them in good stead. They've already got a point on the board after that 1-1 draw against the Lion City Sailors. Incidentally, next up for Tanjong Pagar United, they're subject to this schedule obviously changing with the COVID-19 global situation. They're against Albrechts coming up on Friday at their Jurong East home, which of course is also the home of Albrechts. Then against Balestier there on the 25th of March, and away at Young Lions at Jurong West on the 5th of April. That's the next 3 games coming up for Tanjong Pagar United. They might fancy getting some points in amongst those matches, most notably, of course, against the Young Lions, who look like they're going down to a 3rd consecutive defeat as things stand today. Currently trailing Balestier Castle by a 1-0 at Jurong West. I hope for their sake, the Young Lions players, their performance is better even if they do lose than the one against Geylang, because Coach Nasri was not a happy man. Nakamura, adjudged to have fouled Delwinder Singh in the build-up to that. Well, we're midway through the second half, I should say, and very, very little of note has happened as you see that foul on Delwinder. If anything, Tanjong Pagar have looked much better in this second half. Lewis Jr. shown signs of frustration, but he's capable of a moment of magic. Farid Samid, another difference maker in this Tanjong Pagar United team. Farid, they've got a man over there on the far side in acres of space. Can Ignatius get the shot away? He's controlling him down at the wrong time, and Soraya now comes back from an offside position, and another chance goes a-begging. Well, Tanjong Pagar United have got to make something happen, as Jordan Webb at the other end is trying to make something happen for Tampines Rovers. You can see Farid Samid's cross. There's a real opportunity there, and it came to Ignatius, and he couldn't control. Back live, and now at the other end, Tampines Rovers have just had another fruitless journey into Tanjong Pagar United territory. It is not the best Singapore Premier League game we've seen this season. I'm afraid that is an undisputable fact. Pretty middling of the road fare. Nazrul. Tampines won't care as long as they come up with the 3 points. Daniel Bennett to Huzaifa. Here's Mehmedovic. The game's back to walking pace now. And I suppose in Tampines' defence, it's the onus now on Tanjong Pagar United, and the problem is they're so disciplined defensively, Tanjong Pagar United. All they want to do is hurry back and create their banks of 5 and 4. And Gavin Lee, well, he is a shrewd tactician, and I'm not going to doubt a man that led Tampines to a runners-up spot and has got them currently at the top of Group H in the AFC Cup. He's obviously wanting these boys to conserve energy for the Lion City Sailors on Wednesday, but they want a second goal surely to put the game beyond reasonable doubt. Shannon Stephen. Very, very little attacking ambition being shown from Tampines in this second half. Another change for Tampines is on the way. I've seen that the coaching staff of Tampines have just passed the substitutions form to the 4th official. So another change coming from Tampines. I wonder whether we'll see Zaifrul Zuliman introduced. Boris Kapotovic. Nazrul gets it out for a throw. So a change on the way for Tampines as we approach the final 20 minutes of this contest. Here's Nakamura. Well, if anyone was going to be given the last 20 minutes off, you'd probably want it to be Nakamura, how hard he's worked. Here's Mehmedovic, the half-time substitute. Mehmedovic beats one. Mehmedovic gets the shot away, and Kenji gets down to save. After a really smart passage of play from Zairudin Mehmedovic. Look at this. Mehmedovic, look how much space he has there. Jan Motta came towards him but got turned inside out. Didn't quite get the shot away cleanly enough though. And Kenji saves. Meanwhile at the other end, offside, and he was offside as well, Lewis Jr. They've got to get the understanding better. Tampines have done a good job defensively, catching Tanjong Pagar United offside at least 4 times in the second half. And the 4th official, I think that's Ruthran Raj, along with Shadiq Al Hussain, our 2 assistant referees today, has got that spot on. I think that's actually Shadiq Al Hussain on that near side that just made that offside decision. He's got those calls largely spot on for me this afternoon. And I think with a few exceptions, keep coming back to this, the officiating's been strong this season in the Singapore Premier League. As we await this change, and it is going to be Amirul Adil coming on for Tampines Rovers. Stand by for that. Jordan Webb can't get past Farid Samid, and now the change will come for Tampines. Now it's going to be Huzaifa, who's on a yellow, so maybe that's a smart move from Gavin Lee to make way, and Amirul to come on. So if anything, maybe a defensive-minded change. Fresh legs at the back. And a first touch for the substitute Amirul. Mehmedovic. Nakamura, give and go to Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb, that was a smart play. It eventually gets to Nakamura. Jordan Webb does really well. Jordan Webb does really well to keep his feet and eventually goes down, and I think that's good officiating as well. The advantage play, then the referee giving the free kick against Suhari there. And that again, at times previously in his career, Jordan Webb had just gone down there looking for the free kick. Look at this, Mehmedovic again. And again, after great build-up play, Mehmedovic doesn't get a clean connection on the shot. Look at this from Mehmedovic. We missed out on it while we were watching that last bit of action. Just again, after doing the setup work brilliantly, can't get a meaningful shot away. Here's Jan Motta. Has he got the radar out for this ball? Cross field. Shannon Stephen is there to greet it for Tampines. Joel Chu. Nakamura. Is Jordan Webb onside here? Is Jordan Webb onside? Yes, he is. Is Jordan Webb going to make it? www.jordanwebbsecondofthegame.com. And the Stags have got the 3 points in the bag now. The replay will tell us whether he was definitely onside. But the linesman's flag stays down, and Jordan Webb with his 6th goal of the season, 2nd in the SPL, both of them coming this afternoon, has put this game to bed. Well, Nakamura's had a brilliant game. Can't quite see from that angle, but I fancy he was being played on there by the player on that far side. Was it Delwinder Singh? For a minute, I thought it looked to be too good to be true, but Jordan Webb kept his composure, and it was Delwinder Singh, I think, that was playing him onside. And Jordan Webb makes it 2, and the Stags are going top of the Singapore Premier League tonight. Live on the One Play Sports Network around the world, and Singtel and StarHub in Singapore. It's Tampines Rovers 2, Tanjong Pagar United 0. Well, we didn't get a definitive angle on that offside decision, but tellingly, there didn't seem to be too many complaints from the boys in red and white shirts, and I think that Delwinder Singh was playing him on. Fareed Samid. Here's the substitute. Surya. Oh, nice work from Surya. He turns Shirel inside out, but the cross can't find Nishikawa. Well, that second game of the season against Brunei DPMM, when they went down 2-0, was bitterly disappointing for Gavin Lee. I think they felt hard done by, as we now see, I think, where are those shots coming from? I think that's one of the upper decks here, just the second floor of the Sports Hub. And just to clarify, our Tampines Hub, I should say, and just to clarify, we are playing these games behind closed doors, but the nature of our Tampines Hub being a big entertainment shopping complex means there's lots of nooks and crannies where passers-by can take a vantage position up and still watch the games. So we have actually got a crowd of some description, nowhere near the couple of thousand we would have had if the game had been open to the public. And of course, wherever you're watching around the world, we hope you're coping with COVID-19. And I think for most places, of course, having to make do without football. So if you've gone online and managed to locate some live professional football and landed with us here in Singapore in the Singapore Premier League, and you're watching on the One Play networks around the world, you are very welcome. And I hope you're enjoying the action here. Remember, we're back tomorrow with another game as they try to thread the ball through to Boris. He's had a very quiet game by his standards. Boris Kaponovic, the Montenegrin, who's got 5 goals in all competitions for Tampines this season. Now, he's not even the club's top scorer in all comps. That's Jordan Webb with 6 after that brace today. Yes, Hougang against Geylang tomorrow. The coverage starts at 5 p.m. Singapore time. Make sure you're with us on the One Play Sports Network for that. If you're watching around the world, or if you're watching in Singapore, you can access it live on Singtel and StarHub. Time here just coming past 7 p.m. in the evening local time. Well, Tampines now with the game all but safe. We're going to make another change as we have a look at Jan Motta and Joel Chu. That's a physical mismatch if ever I've seen one. And it's going to be Zaiful Suleiman. So Zaiful on, and he replaces Erwin Shah. Over the top, looking for Surya. A couple of bright moments for Surya since his introduction down this right-hand side. Needs some support here, though. He finds it with Fareed Samid. Scuffed, attempted a through ball from Sharbil, and Jordan Webb is on a hat-trick, remember. Stipe Placebat, the only hat-trick in the Singapore Premier League this season so far. Up until this point, Jordan Webb just couldn't get the shot away. Still with Jordan Webb. He's got Boris to his right, who he finds. Boris Kaponovic. Usually when one scored in games this season, the other has followed. It's happened 3 times already that both have scored in the same game. They both scored against Bali in the AFC Champions League qualifier. They both scored against PSM of Indonesia in the AFC Cup. They both scored against Hougang in the Community Shield. And Jordan Webb, well, he had the hat-trick on his mind there, didn't he? And they both, of course, scored in midweek against Shan United. So 4 times this season they've both scored in the same game. I wonder if Jordan Webb is chasing that hat-trick now. We've only had the 1 hat-trick so far this season, scored by Stipe Placebat against the Young Lions for Hougang United. We had only 4 hat-tricks in the entire season in 2019, and 2 of those went to the top scorer from the campaign of DPMM, Andre Varankau. Faritz Farham scored one for Gailing, and Shafiq a hat-trick for Howgang. So 3 weeks in, if we could get 2 hat-tricks on the board, we'll be ahead of schedule in that particular department. But now Tampines with the luxury of that second goal, and surely Tanjong Pagar not capable of getting 2. When at 1-0, there's always a chance you can nick a corner out of nothing and fire one in. But Lewis Jr. has had very little to work with. And let's also give another mention to the incredible Peter Pan of Singapore football, Daniel Bennett, who touches the ball now. The 42-year-old captain today, in the absence of Yasser Henapi, has been faultless at the back, as he was in midweek in the AFC Cup. So a 42-year-old playing 90 minutes on Tuesday against Shan of Myanmar, and now seemingly set to play, well, at least 80 minutes in the league on a Saturday afternoon. Here's Mehmedovic to Nakamura, another player that's worked incredibly hard today, Nakamura. That fitness he garnered at Albirex coming in real handy for Tampines with this heavy schedule. He's just been bundled over there by Nishikawa. Japanese on Japanese there. Yeah, nothing malicious, I think, just clumsy, if anything, from Nishikawa. Nice little touch from Zeifel that escaped me when we were watching it in real time. But this is a set piece in a promising position. Mehmedovic has got great delivery. As we enter the final 10 minutes. I can tell you Balestier have added a second against the Young Lions. So both games look to have been decided already with 10 minutes to play. Balestier leading Young Lions 2-0. Tampines leading the Jaguars 2-0. But Jordan Webb hunting for a hat-trick. Boris Kapotovic wanting to get on the score sheet as well, I'm sure. He looks to be the main target. Daniel Bennett's up for this set piece as well. Mehmedovic, the delivery. I think he was cheekily trying to aim that towards Kenji and seeing if one of his teammates could get a touch. Now, can Mehmedovic keep this in? Yes, he can. Can Mehmedovic get it back to a teammate? Yes, he can. It comes to Amarul, and that clearance is high, but not very far. Shannon Stephen up against Faritza Me, but there was a little bit of a push there. And Faritza want to try and take this quickly. Needs to get it back, though. Wasn't committed that foul in that position by Shannon Stephen. Yeah, he was trying to go for goal there, and maybe you can see the run of Amarul was coming. I think the intention was for Amarul to try and get a touch and guide it past Kenji. Didn't quite come off. I can tell you they're 2 up, Balestier Calcer, but they're down to 10 men. There's been a red card for Shafiq Zaino in that game. So 2-0 to Balestier, but playing with 10. 2-0 to Tampines here, playing with the full complement. Jordan Webb in the 12th and 74th minutes. 8.5 to play. Tampines still looking for a third, are they, with Jordan Webb? They've used all 3 substitutes, Tampines Rovers. Tanjong Pagar United still got 1 to play, but not much ammunition on the bench to choose from, as Boris Kapotovic, who's had a quiet day by his standards. If the game goes ahead on Wednesday night here, the Stags will be hoping he's back to top form against the Lion City Sellers. I'm being a bit harsh, actually, because he did obviously create the opening goal for Jordan Webb with this hustle down the left. His cross spilled by Kenji into the path of the Canadian. It's a strong header that finds Mehmedovic. Joel Chu, who's been in the wars down that left-hand side today. Shannon Stephen. Yeah, Motta has been thrown into midfield seemingly just to try anything to make something happen. He's almost playing up front with his countryman Lewis Jr. now. Shannon Stephen with a bit of cramp. Shannon Stephen, who's had terrible injury troubles over the years. Those 2 cruciate ligament injuries, it's just great to see him back. Madu McIntosh, of course, is an absentee for the Stags with an injury at the moment. Yasser Henapi still serving out games of that 6-game ban carried over from last season. Dan Bennett. Well, the coaching team of Tanjong Pagar United, Hasri and Noel Shah, they've been very animated towards the officials in this second half. But ultimately, they've just not had enough possession really to warrant getting anything out of this game. And Tampines at times have been able to slow this game down to a walking pace. And now, at a nothing, Mehmedovic and Lewis Jr. getting into a bit of a scrap, and it's going to end with the Brazilian going into the book. Well, that's been coming because his frustration's been growing throughout this game. He's getting increasingly frustrated. Joel Chu got it to Mehmedovic, and I'm not sure there was too much in that, maybe just for the afters. Did he try and cheekily have a kick out? He did, didn't he? Good spot by the referee. Good decision, that yellow card. Lewis Jr.'s frustration shouldn't have gone unpunished and didn't go unpunished. And then he didn't want to retreat at the free kick either. But they've switched it now, haven't they, Tanjong Pagar United? They've thrown Jan Motta and Lewis Jr. up front together. So the centre-backs now playing centre-forward. And with the absence of Jan Motta at the back, if Tampines fancy this, you fancy a third goal is surely in them. Well, the ball, Big Bruno, second goal in as many games for him. He's got the second for Balestier Kauser against the Young Lions after scoring from that set piece for them in the 2-2 draw against Albrecht. He's on the score sheet again today. Bruno the ball. Benicevic. And now there's another Stags player down in agony. This time it's Dan Bennett, the 42-year-old, and they'll be needing to call on his defensive services. And this time it's Jan Motta. So both Brazilians now in the book. Let's have a look at this one again, because Daniel Bennett is not the kind of player to roll around on the ground feigning injury. When he goes down, it tends to be painful. But again, that's cheeky. Very similar to the transgression from Lewis Jr. The ball was gone, and Jan Motta's just had a little bit of a nibble there. That deserved the yellow card. And poor old Daniel Bennett, when you're 42 and are playing, well, he's now played 175 minutes of football in, what, 4 days? The last thing you want us to be clattered into at the end of a very busy week, with another busy week around the corner. Amaral spot Shannon Stephen in space. Bennett seemingly none the worse for that little bit of illegal Brazilian footwork that came his way. And that's a header that might come to Jordan Webb. Jordan Webb on the hat-trick, selflessly gives it to Boris Kaponovic. Boris Kaponovic has acres of space there for Shirel. Or it might be Saifor, actually, apologies. He couldn't get the shot away. Yeah, it was Zyfrel there with a real opportunity. Jordan Webb, no selfish play, taking the pot shot there. Got it to Boris. There was nothing too wrong with the cross, but Zyfrel just unable to get there as we enter the final 3.5 minutes. Now some space for Surya. Can Surya get a cross in? Yes, he can. Shazwan's not come for this, and there's a header on goal. Well, that's the first, I think I'm not wrong in saying, the first shot on target that they've had, Tanjong Pagar United, and it's taken Luis Jr. to the 87th minute to come up with it. He's already been booked, Jan Motta. He needs to be careful, because the last thing Tanjong Pagar United want is to lose a player through suspension, as you get another look at the one and only shot that's come in on target from Tanjong Pagar United this afternoon. He's still talking back, is Jan Motta. Jan Motta could find himself sent off here if he's not careful, and they cannot afford to lose him for 2 games. Frustration boiling over late here for Tanjong Pagar. Such a shame after their spirited and disciplined display against the Lion City Sailors. Oof. Another challenge comes in, a sliding challenge this time from Suhari. Sends Shirel tumbling. And they need to be careful here, Tanjong Pagar United. The game is gone. They can't get anything from the game. But it's bad enough giving up the 2-0 victory without facing suspensions down the line. And as we noticed from their bench today, which only had 6 players on it, they can ill afford to lose members of their squad through suspension. Daniel Bennett. Gets it to Amaral. Jordan Webb. He's still running Jordan Webb. He wants the hat-trick. And they might find him here, and they do. Jordan Webb, he's got support, turns inside. He's got Boris to his right, finds Boris. Jordan Webb getting into the area to try and get on the end of this for the hat-trick. Oh, Boris Kaponovic from a narrow angle with Jordan Webb waiting to try and get his third. And it's into the side netting. Final 90 seconds, and I can almost guarantee you there won't be more than 3 minutes of time added on here. Jordan Webb has run the show in this second half. Boris Kaponovic, well, you'll forgive him, I suppose, at 2-0 going for the goal at the narrow angle. Not sure Jordan Webb will be as forgiving. I think he was hoping he'd return the favour and pass it back to him for a chance at the hat-trick. Well won in the air by Daniel Bennett. Lovely play by Mehmedovic. I think he thought Nazrul had a nibble there. Nazrul's another one of those players on a yellow. At the moment, 5 Jaguars on a yellow card. Down injured now is Jan Motta, one of those players that's on a yellow. I think it just looks like cramp for the big Brazilian, the way he's stretching out there. Well, I don't know if you can pick that up at home, but there is some very faint chanting going on from the fans watching this game through the nooks and crannies. There they are. There's one of them on the viewing gallery. And just to confirm, this match is behind closed doors. That's actually a viewing platform that just opens up as you walk through the entertainment and shopping complex here at our Tampines Hub. The officials of the FAS and the Singapore Premier League have done a great job in keeping everyone safe and conducting the checks for temperature and other precautions for COVID-19. That's been carried out immaculately by the authorities here. Congratulations to them. Confirmation, 3 minutes of added time to be played. They're waiting to make a change now. Quite why they're bringing Hadi Putradia on. Inside time added on 2 down, I'm not sure, but he's going to come on and get a run out here, the youngster. And I'm assuming it might be one of the Brazilians that makes way, if only to stop them getting sent off. Well, it'll be Nazrul that comes off and Hadi Putradia to come on. Hadi Putradia on, and he'll come on with Tanjong Pagar United having a rare opportunity to attack with a set piece here. Coming up to 90-minute mark at Jurong West. Young Lions nil, Balestier Khalsa nil. The 3 points are going to the Tigers there, and they're going to the Stags here. Surely the best Tanjong Pagar United can do is get a consolation. It's going to be Ignatius Ang, who's had an impressive game in parts this evening, to swing it in with his left foot. Good delivery as well, and the header's up, and it's just wide of the mark. Well, a real opportunity for Surya, who has been lively since he was introduced midway through the second half, and Tampines Rovers were asleep there momentarily. Great delivery from Ignatius Sang, absolute beauty. And Surya should probably have done better because there wasn't any Stag putting him under pressure. Mehmedovic, we're now in to the final 90 seconds of time added on. Mehmedovic should get this back. Mehmedovic back to Daniel Bennett. Doesn't look like there's going to be a hat-trick for Jordan Webb. Can they fashion one more chance though, because Boris is on the ball. Boris Kaponovic, great strength, and he's found Jordan Webb with what might be the last attacking foray of the game. Can the Stags make it 3? Can Webb complete his hat-trick? Oh, the shot is straight at Kenji, who gathers it up. And Jordan Webb will be disappointed either side of the Jaguars keeper there, and that probably would have been 3-0. Joel Chu. Still they come forward, Tampines Rovers. Nakamura's missed out this time. They get it to Shirul. Now Jordan Webb again. To Boris. He'll go down and win a free kick. And now the referee's been belted by the ball. I think he's going to strike that off. I don't think it was deliberate. In fact, I'm sure it's not deliberate. But here's a free kick right on the edge of the area, which will almost certainly be the last play of the game. As Delwinder Singh, who's on a yellow card, by the way, follows through there. That's the kind of challenge, if you're not on a yellow, the referee will give you a yellow for. In the context of the game, he's probably dodged a bullet there, Delwinder Singh. What it has done, though, has given them a free kick, the Stags, and Jordan Webb looks interested, doesn't he? it's Mehmedovic's range. Nakamura can hit them as well, or will they give Jordan Webb the chance to complete the hat-trick in some style? The answer to that last question is no, and this, for all the world, looks like it's going to be Mehmedovic to try and put the icing on a Stags performance that's been pedestrian at times, but they've got the 3 points in the bag. Can they get a third goal in the bag? 6 men in the Jaguars' wall. Mehmedovic or Nakamura? Option 1 or option 2? I can't decide, it's up to you. Mehmedovic! Over the bar it goes, and that will be that. Tampines Rovers are going to beat Tanjong Pagar United by 2-0 to go to the top of the Singapore Premier League tonight. They've not had to be anywhere near their best to pick up maximum points, but pick up maximum points is exactly what they're going to do. And Tanjong Pagar United's return after a 6-year absence is going to end with the first 2 games yielding just the 1 point from that 1-1 draw against Lion City Sailors on match night 1. As our referee, Zulfikar Mustafa, blows for full time. Tampines Rovers, top of the Singapore Premier League tonight, if only for 24 hours before Hougang play Geylang tomorrow. A game we'll bring you live. Goals from Jordan Webb in the 12th and 74th minute, his 5th and 6th of the season in all competitions. His first 2 this season in the Singapore Premier League have given the Stags the win. A reminder next up for Tanjong Pagar United, subject to change, they play Albrechts at both teams' home ground on Friday at Jurong East. Then it's Balestier for them at Jurong East on the 25th of March, followed by the Young Lions on the 5th of April, as Gavin Lee congratulates and commiserates with his opposite numbers. For Tampines, well, it's Lion City Sailors for them next on Wednesday night. Then they take on Hougang on the 24th of March and at Geylang on the 28th of March. As always, those fixtures subject to change with the current COVID-19 situation. But hasn't it been great to have live professional football somewhere in the world this Saturday? It's been behind closed doors, but the lucky few that enterprisingly decided to watch from the viewing platforms at Our Tampines Hub have enjoyed it, as Mustafic commiserates with Noel Alam Shah and Hari Suap. Here, it's finished. Tampines Rovers 2, Tanjong Pagar United 0. And do stay with us, because Duncan Elias and Shulko, along with Barbara Latimer, will be bringing you a post-match show very shortly, including all the reaction from today's game. The Stags are top of the league. They've beaten Tanjong Pagar United by 2-0. And on Instagram and Twitter at SG.
Tampines Rovers back on top of the Singapore Premier League after that 2-0 victory over Tanjong Pagar United. They weren't pushed all the way, were they, Shuko Zailan? It did feel that they didn't have to go and get out of second gear the entire match.
Yeah, looking at the game earlier on, I think they are not playing at a 100% level. I think they are playing quite an easy game today. Tanjong Pagar have not been quite amazing in the second half.
This is what they needed though, Tampines Rovers, after that exertion in the AFC Cup. A nice easy 3 points for them and they're top of the table.
Yeah, I think it's not much work. Maybe they're keeping it for Lion City Sailors this coming week. And yeah, I think Tanjong Pagar has been a little bit of disappointment looking at how they play today.
Yeah, real disappointment for Tanjong Pagar United, especially after that great opening day performance against Lion City Sailors. And we have a Tanjong Pagar United player on standby. Barbara Latimer has caught up with Delwinder Singh.
Today you obviously went in with a game plan, right? And did it just kind of go out the window after the first goal in the first 12 minutes?
No, not really. As in, I think first half, despite going down, we still did well. We still follow according to the game plan. Well, still proud of the boys, despite losing 2-0. But yeah, this football.
It is. Now, also tell me, there was definitely a difference in the level of performance between today's match and when you guys went up against the Lion City Sailors. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I'm sure people, after disappointing Lion City Sailors, a lot of people still said that probably it's lucky for us. And today, when we lost, probably a lot of people will come out and say, you know what, you deserve it because we were just lucky first time around. But I think we just had 1 month of preparation. So we're still in our pre-season phase, I would say, even though the league has started. But look at the squad. We only have how many senior players, experienced players, and the rest are young boys who are first time in the league. But I'm not going to give any excuses. But we just come back better on Friday against our Breaks.
Awesome. Now, did you at all miss the presence of Tanaka today during the match?
Yeah, definitely. He's our life wire down the left. But with that said, injuries happen. We can't just depend on a player, even though we need him. But we cannot just whole season players like probably our star man Junior, Taka, Shodai, and other players like Farid, and everyone might be injured, but we still have to go on. Those who come in must step up.
Well, you still fought hard, and I wish you all the best for your match on Friday. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always going to be a tough ask against Tampines Rovers, Shuko, but we saw the game plan, very similar to how they approached the Lion City Sailor match, but what went wrong today for them?
Well, I think most of all, I think Tanaka has been missed in this game definitely because as you can see, the last game that we watched, Tanaka has been running down the flanks quite a lot. So I think with his presence in the game, I think it gives a lot of game-changing situations. So today, without him, you can see that he is greatly missed from the team.
Tanaka very has great pace down the left, and he showed that against Lion City Sailors. Really great stuff to see the effort there by Tanjong Pagar United. But would you have liked them to be a little bit more in the face of Tampines Rovers, knowing that they are tired from the AFC Cup?
Yeah, I thought that they will go at 100% at the start of the game, and then only after they concede a goal, then they pick it up again after 20 minutes. But then again, they couldn't get a goal. They couldn't get a lot of chances because they're still not winning balls and losing a lot of possession. So I think it's a waste that they didn't capitalize on it based on Tampines Rovers. They're being fatigued and all. But, you know, this is football.
It is football, and it is the Jordan Webb show. 2 goals today for Tampines Rovers. Can't stop scoring goals, can he? He is pitch side with Barbara Latimer.
Thanks, Duncan. I have with me Jordan Webb. Now, you scored 2 goals today. How does that feel? Are you happy with your performance?
No, not really, because I had a bunch of other chances, and I need to be more clinical in goal, especially when we play, a tougher opponent. Not saying they weren't hard, but yeah. So I wouldn't really say it was that great of a performance because I didn't finish my other opportunities.
There you go. Well, we could definitely see that you were trying to go in for a hat trick there. Now, you obviously have you've kind of developed this connection with Boris You guys have got a good thing going. What is the secret between that pairing?
I don't know. I mean, you know, he lives in the same condo as me, so I guess we kind of talk off the field and we just try to bring that onto the field. So I guess that plays a part.
Now, being at your home ground at Tampines Hub, you guys have played a couple of matches here already. The stadiums have always been packed out, but of course this is the first closed game. Was there any difference playing without a stadium full of fans?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's always better when you have the fans around. So, I mean, that we definitely could feel there wasn't really much of an atmosphere, but I mean, we got to play, right? We're professionals.
There you go. Well, all the best for your upcoming matches. We're going to see more from you guys and other teams as well. Duncan, it's back to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Barbara. And he just can't stop scoring goals. Kenny Shuko, again, another 2 goals today. Scored in AFC Cup in midweek. What kind of player is he? How dangerous is he when he's on form?
Personally, I feel that he is very, very talented. It's individually very skillful. I think if you give him a lot of time on the ball, he can do wonders. He can create a lot of trouble for the back line especially. So I remember whenever I'm facing against him, I'll make sure that I take him out first, or my teammates will take him out first in the first 15 minutes so that agitate him so that he can't play his game.
Exactly, the tactical fouls up against Jordan Webb that used to rile him up in the past, but has there been a learning curve for him over the period of him in the professional league where he's not reacting to those tackles anymore?
I think he still does, but today, as you can see, Tanjong Pagar is not putting a lot of pressure. They only put up the tackles in the last 20 minutes in the second half. Yeah. And I think they've been very cautious because I think if they pick up the cuts early in the first half, then they couldn't create more fouls in the second half. So I think that's why we see there's not much pressure from Tanjong Pagar today.
Tanjong Pagar really racking up the cards late on in the game, and they came with a game plan today to our Tampines Hub, but it all went apart and it went to shreds after 12 minutes. Boris Kopitovic doing well, usually does his best work in the box, now down the left, and this cross there seemed to be no danger at all, but it fell kindly to Jordan.
Kenji definitely have to take responsibility for this. I think his decision making, whether or not he wants to catch the ball or whether he wants to parry the ball away, but I think he has to take responsibility for this.
And was the build-up just a bit too easy? A ball in between the defenders. They went for a back 5.
Yes.
Too easy for Boris to get across it.
Yes, it's very easy. Like I said again, back line, 5 defenders. There might be a miscommunication of who is covering who, and this happened. And it's a good cross after all.
Yeah, in terms of confusion, it fell in the way of Jordan Webb. More confusion later on in the half. A nothing ball by Webb. Kenji came out. Did he bring the ball over? Did he not? It looked like he did to the naked eye.
Yeah, I'm still staying with my decision that he's out of the box with his hands. Definitely, it's a foul.
Yeah, it would have been very interesting to see what the referee would have given there. Possibly a red card. Would have been definitely a good free kick and a good opportunity to get a goal from that situation.
I couldn't agree more. It should have been a free kick or a red card.
Well, 1-0 at the break. Tampines still had plenty of possession. Memanovic, he loved doing this in the game. A little fake, a shot, but easy enough for Kenji.
Yeah, beautiful shot by Memanovic. I think ever since he came on, the impact is different. The game changed a lot. He has more possession with Kyoga, and Joel is back to his role, playing the free role. And this is a good shot. It's unlucky for him not to get in the score sheet.
No one closing him down, only Jan Mota, very, very late. Memanovic not as strong maybe on his left foot. Nakamura here all the time in the world and picks out a great pass. Breaking the offside trap. Jordan Webb, one-on-one. You know what comes next.
Yep.
Second goal of the game.
Excellent vision from Nakamura. Back line, again, like I said, if you're playing too much defender, this can happen. You don't know who to pick up, and Jordan Webb creating space, running just behind the back line and just slot it in the goal.
Yeah, Tanjong Pagar United will be disappointed with that defending. It's an easy ball over the top, no pressure on Nakamura. Webb with the goal. Second of the game, and that killed off the game as a contest. And Tanjong Pagar United had a game plan of perhaps holding out and pushing on in the final stages, but they did push on, but to no real impact. Surya Prakash, another substitute, came on. And this is easy pickings for Shazwan Buhari, and that's as close as Luis Jr. got to a goal today.
Yeah, that's the only chance I believe he had in this game today. It's a good cross from Surya Prakash. I think he has made quite an impact running down the flanks, creating a bit of problems for Tampines backline.
Webb was desperate for a hat-trick. Set up Boris Kopitovic, would have wanted a return pass. Kopitovic had other ideas. Went near post. Webb perhaps looking at why didn't you pass to me, a bit selfish on Kopitovic.
In my opinion, I think that he should have sent in a low cross with two players, Jordan, and I believe the left wingers is also running into the box. It should be in a third goal.
Well, perhaps Kenji getting the space covered here. Webb again down the left where he does all his great work. Cuts inside. That's what he usually likes to do.
Yeah,
Safe
that's his
hands by
strength.
Kenji.
Yeah, that's definitely his strength.
How dangerous is he? And defenders know what he's trying to do, but you just can't stop him, can you?
Yeah, I think as a defender, I think it's a threat facing against him. I think if you are a good defender, you always push him to his weaker side, and that's down his left. But it seems that because again they are holding back, they don't want to create fouls outside the penalty box. They hold it. Maybe pushing it to the right might be a better decision, but it's a big risk. Luckily for the earlier chances, he shoot it right at Kenji.
2 wins in a row in a week for Tampines Rovers ahead of a mouth-watering clash. This Wednesday is Tampines Rovers up against the Lion City Sailors right here at our Tampines Hub. It's a game you will surely not want to miss. Tanjong Pagar United in action on Friday as well. So that's the end of our coverage here at our Tampines Hub. Tampines Rovers back on top of the Singapore Premier League.